My bad. I started chatting to the panel. I'm your debate partner, First Amender. No, I'm not. I'm your opponent. Yeah. Shell, what's your favorite anime? Hold on. I'm streaming this. Can I share the audio of this call? My own audio is being shared. Can I share this? Okay, real.
People see my face, the next biggest streamer.
Yeah, everybody's gonna
upgrade. You gotta upgrade your camera setup.
I'm gonna keep it $1 with you.
Gotta get that green screen going.
Next,
Shell is in the Celestial
biggest,
Kingdom. He's up in
next
heaven.
biggest streamer, yeah.
Shell is in Canada.
The man of the mighty urethra, the biggest stream. All right.
Yo, First Amender, your cat is awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have a cat that looks just like it. His name is Shadow.
Yeah,
creatively.
that's great.
Can you guess what color he is?
Black.
Yep. How'd you know?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
That's great.
I'm just doing some clipping and then we'll get right to it.
What about you, Michael? Anything to add?
No. Sound check. Sounding good.
Sounds
good.
Great. Michael's going first, so
Yo, chat. Let me know how the volume is on your guys'
yeah,
end.
I'll turn that up.
If it's a little quiet, I can turn it down.
But yeah, so Michael's going first, followed up by First Amender. You have up to 6 minutes. I do recommend usually trying to keep it around 5 minutes, just because it does seem like the audience is
way too much time.
Another person to chime in around.
It's like
that point.
way too much time.
1v1s. It's like 8 minutes is the cap, so like for the audience that is, right? So are you gonna need your full 6, or are you thinking where are you at there, Michael?
Okay, let's see here.
Probably around 5:30.
Okay, no worries.
Let's see
I
here.
haven't timed it though. I'm mostly just looking
Volume's
at it.
good. Kai put on the Zoom video. I'm gonna put it on. Hey,
Yeah.
calm yo jets.
Probably close to 6 though.
Calm yo jets, fellas. I'm on that.
I
For
talk
whatever reason,
faster.
it's not
I don't
working.
know if that's gonna help the retention any.
Yeah, like the Zoom meeting is just like
just go at your own pace.
it's just totally broken. You guys see
All
that?
right, I just gotta do a few little clips here.
Yo, quick question for anybody that's streaming. For whatever reason, like sharing the Zoom does not work. Is there anybody who had that same issue and who got it to work?
I got it to work. I just use OBS though, so I don't know.
Oh, you did like a screen capture? Okay.
No, it's a window capture.
I'm doing a window capture, but like the window is showing just white.
Go to it and select the Windows 19 capture method.
Ah, there we go. Hey, goat. Hold on, goat. Okay, let's go.
Look at you go. You're
Appreciate
just like,
ya.
I know this off the top of my head. That's insane.
He's prepped. He's got a PowerPoint.
Been
He's
doing it for a
professional.
while.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw
There you
that
go.
on Kai's stream.
Hey, you're not supposed to say that, Shell. What's going on? You're selling
Wait, were
me
you
short.
watching my stream?
I was
a little
studying
bit,
the
just a
enemy's tactics.
You were
taught-
watching my stream to
taught by
see my
Lao Tzu.
PowerPoint?
I was taught by Lao Tzu to study the enemy,
Are you
to deceive
serious?
them at every turn.
Kai, I need you to increase your volume a little bit. It's quiet.
Okay,
All right.
let me turn that up. You mean on the stream or on this call?
No, I muted all the streams. I'm looking at the Zoom thing right now.
Oh yeah, my output volume's down like super low. Let me know how's that? Okay.
Everyone sounds perfect to me, but I don't know.
Oh no, that was my output
I'm not
volume.
looking at any numbers or dials. I'm just listening.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold
I
on.
think it's pretty clear audio for all of you.
How's that? A little better?
It's a bit better. I guess I'm just too old. My ears don't work.
Am I the only one who's quiet for you?
No,
No.
you sound fine.
Ryan's a little quiet for me as well. Maybe I'm muted.
Yeah,
I don't know.
change your output.
That's because my mic's down here.
Oh, hey, James, good to meet you. Let's go. Hey, James, you've slimmed up a bit. You've slimmed up a bit.
Skinny version. Ryan, yeah.
James on a cut?
Fixed my name.
I can
Yeah.
only hope one day that like I actually get to be as buff as James, so that way I can just be the soy boy liberal that's also jacked. I need that. I
That's
need
so
that in my
performative.
life.
That's so
I
performative.
need,
Like
I'm
Hassan
working on
Abi,
it.
it's super performative.
I'm working on it, but it's
Ooh, let's go.
definitely a whip. It's definitely work in progress.
W.
All right, I've got one more
Guys,
thing.
this is
All right,
soy.
Just getting Michael.
You're into lifting, eh?
Yes, sir. Were you studying me too? Were you studying my my content?
I tried to find you. I couldn't find any of your stuff other than sort of an old Instagram. So
I've been gone for
I've
2
seen that.
years.
I didn't do a lot of research, but I did look.
I've been gone for a long time. I was just I was serving a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Argentina, so I haven't produced a lot of content since then. But I am on Instagram, KaiClips. I suppose we're gonna do our plugs in just a minute, so I'll hold off on that. But there's shameless plugging.
Can I get everyone's ages real quick? I'm gonna be 26.
Was this
Very
TikTok
soon.
debate? Age,
No, I just
state,
wanna
who'd you vote for?
understand the mindset. I just want to understand the mindset.
Okay, I'm. How old do you think I am, Shell?
I think you're around my age.
Okay, how old would you put me at? High or low?
27, 28, 25, 26.
Okay, okay. I'm
How
22.
old do you think? How old do you think I
Really?
am?
First Amender, you're 20,
I'll let you have fun while I grab a
27?
drink.
I'm 36 years old.
No way.
I was born in 1989.
You're on that Brian Johnson anti-aging beat.
Conspiracy theories, huh?
Dude, this is
Jesus,
crazy.
yes.
Dude,
Son.
my debate partner's
You're
Canadian.
really 22?
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm almost 23. My birthday's in December. I'm 22 and a half, actually.
Actually,
Actually.
actually.
All
I'm
right.
the old duck then. I'm 40. Turned 40 in July.
Dude, you're looking good for 40. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. You're looking very Chad, the jaw. You do some like thumb pulling.
I have no idea what that is.
It's one of the things that the young kids are doing now to looks max to get the jaw like fixed. They thumb pull like their teeth, their jaw in order
What do
to
they do?
widen it. They like put their thumbs like in like under their teeth, under the gums, and they pull. It's called thumb pulling.
Why?
It improves the facial structure.
It's wild.
I wouldn't know anything about that. This is genetic.
Yeah.
This is little looks maxing, very little looks maxing on my part. I'm grateful for my parents. I've got good genes. Nobody laughed at that. That's cringe. That's
Careful
super
which
sad.
commercials you star in.
Yeah, no, exactly. My genes are green. Okay, Shell, what is your favorite anime? You never told us.
Oh, right. My favorite anime is technically Death Note,
Okay.
but very recently I finished Attack on Titan. I'm still reviewing that on my channel.
Okay. Don't spoil it.
Uh,
I was gone when the second part of the last season released, so I still have yet to see it because like Crunchyroll is gatekeeping it from me.
Just pirate it, dude.
I got to do that. What site do you go to? I mean, well, you probably shouldn't say that on a live stream, but
Listen, I'm a third world country person, okay? Piracy is in my blood. Okay, paying for things feels weird.
All right.
I do not.
Mask
just
off.
FYI, YouTube. I do not advocate piracy. Do not pirate.
cringe,
Go
cringe.
with a paid version. You know, these guys are advocating piracy, not me. Just FYI, don't.
Pirates are awesome.
First
I know.
Amendment.
I just
over
want to
here.
make sure there's no strikes on my channel, bro.
Dude, his
when
accent's so
when I
his
sent you
accent
that
is so
video
thick.
Last time when I said you can load it up with a bunch of ROMs and stuff, you were like, "That, yeah, that's good."
Listen,
just saying.
This is gonna be a sick
Dude,
debate. I'm honestly
I
hyped for
ROMs,
this. I'm honestly
I abide
so
by the
hyped for
law,
this.
Okay, I own.
My mind has
I
been
own
changed.
the
I'm
properties
ecstatic
of
about
At
this.
some point,
I
right?
bought.
I
the
was so
content.
not excited,
At some
and now
point.
I'm so
It
hyped.
is legal.
I want you guys to know.
I was
It
gonna
is,
say, we got a
it is
couple ca-
legal to own a ROM
All right.
as long as you own the game. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh man, what a
I
day!
was gonna say we got a couple Canadians in here, so we're probably all
Shout out
a
Shell.
little less scared of internet laws than America.
Yo, MF said we got a couple Canadians in here who's just talking about Shell.
You can download as much as you want in Canada. You just-
I gotta heat up this water. This water's not hot anymore. BRB.
I think in Alabama they banned porn.
Based? What? What?
Well, that's
Based.
Just FYI.
That's based. That's awesome. That's epic. That's hype. Me when I moved to Alabama real quick. If they can like get rid of the murder, that would be sick.
Yeah, that's completely insane.
Oh man, the amount of people.
Insane.
Pictures.
It's an application of the Miller test.
I just think
It's
people
totally
should
legal.
choose if they want to involve themselves in that.
What about with minors?
No.
You guys
Why
go
not?
to a different debate topic altogether.
Yeah,
We
sorry, I
can
can't
have
help
that-
myself.
We can have that discussion some other time, but yeah. As for you know, I think when it comes to guns, the people usually make the argument that if you make it illegal, then the illegalities of it are just going to spread.
It's interesting because people don't say that ever about like CP. It's like that's never been a complaint about, you know, making that illegal.
Yeah, because it causes harm on people, like a lot.
Well, so do guns. So do guns.
Let's have fun with this.
Yeah, I
some other
agree
time.
with you. That's why.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'm
We're
sorry.
gonna throw Michael off his beat here. He's just like, I can't engage. I gotta.
Dude, I want to debate this guy.
Man, you guys,
I want to debate this guy so bad.
I'm loving it.
I'm going to debate First Amender.
Just going to get one last thing here. Yeah, I had to just change the stream.
Can I jump in real quick? Just ask something. I don't know if you're doing so. Okay, First Amender. Can we set up a debate about like banning pornography?
Sure.
Sweet. Let's go.
Just message me on Discord. I'm First Amender on Discord.
Okay. I don't use Discord all that much, but I'll do it. I'll add you.
Discord. Okay.
I'm not a big Discord guy. I'm
It's
a
the young kids thing, I think.
I'm a hangout in real life. I'm a face-to-face kind of guy. No, I'm sorry. I do use Discord. I just had my old Discord get banned.
All right.
Why
So the
would your
stream
old
is up and
Discord
running.
It got hacked. It wasn't anything cool either.
Okay.
No worries. All right, so let's we're gonna shift gears here because we're about to get started. Yeah, Michael, you'll have the first up to 6 minutes there.
You guys didn't hear a drain. That wasn't a drain. That was
Looking good on the camera.
that was my
so-
kettle. That was my kettle heating up the water. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dog Tuna. Dog Tuna knows what's going on.
So I'm just going to
Oh, my bad.
get this out of the way. I'm gonna set the timer and I'll do the cold opens. So once you hear the cold open,
Hey, yo, guys. If I win the debate, you have to power chat. You have to go powerchat.live/KaiClips.
We doing intros or just intro like as you do your opening, or what are we gonna do there?
Yeah, if you want to take like, I mean, you're only if you say you're doing 5.5, you want to take like a 30 seconds, just tell people who you are, where you, or you can just jump right into it. No worries. All right, I'll do the cold opening and.
I'm hyped for this. This is gonna be sick.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Modern Day Debate. I'm your host, Ryan. Tonight, we're going to be debating the ethics of pro-choice versus pro-life. To get us started, we have a new face here on Modern Day Debate. Name's Michael. Michael, thank you so much for coming out to Modern Day Debate. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me. My name is Michael McCaffrey. I'm a pro pickleball player in Vancouver, Canada. So if that's your thing, you can check me out on Instagram. I'm at McCaffreyMJ. Also do lots of really cool hiking, backcountry, camping, canoeing, that sort of thing. So if you want to be inspired to spend more time outdoors in this beautiful world we're all in, YouTube, I'm Outdoor Earthling. So check me out there as well. Ryan, am I going to be able to screen share?
He's got to share the.
Grab my right one.
He's got to share the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
There's 2 PowerPoints.
Running.
Everybody be making PowerPoints these days.
Yeah, so
Okay,
as
my
for the
bad.
debate today, I prefer to focus on the morality of abortion as opposed to the legality. I'm certainly happy to get
Based.
into the
I like that, I
legality
like that.
stuff a little bit.
I like
but
that.
I think that hashing out the morality is a better first step to take here.
I like them.
Also hoping that both sides can avoid any sort of straw man attacks like you just want to control women or you just want to kill children. I think that these sort of things just beg the question and really get us nowhere.
So true.
So with the abortion debate, there's really 2 things, in my opinion, we need to establish. Does the fetus have moral worth at some point during the pregnancy? And if so,
Probably.
when does that begin?
Good
And
point.
number
Yep.
2 is how do we evaluate the rights of the fetus and the mother when they are in conflict?
I got to take notes. My bad. I got to
So
take
as
notes.
to the first question,
I gotta
who
lock
we
in.
grant moral status to, if we look at our moral intuitions, we
Moral
don't
intuitions,
seem to care
nice.
about harming things like rocks, carrots, or corpses. In fact, if a woman had a rock, a carrot, or a dead person inside her womb, I don't think anyone would care to stop her from removing those things. But we do seem to care about things like children, coma patients who will recover, and there's perhaps an argument to be made, the vegan case, for ascribing the same moral consideration to animals as we do to humans, in that they have similar, although generally lower capacity for consciousness, pain, and pleasure. But what I'd like to do is set the animal thing aside so we can stay focused on the debate topic of abortion in humans.
Animals-
and not
animals
just
set aside.
into
That's
animal
convenient.
ethics debate.
That's
So,
convenient.
What seems
I'm gonna
to
bring
be
it
the
back
common
up.
thread here, nonetheless, is sentience, or consciousness, subjective experience with the world. This seems to be the point at which we start ascribing moral value and we start granting negative rights to people. And if we examine that a little closer, it seems that this conjunction best maps onto our moral intuitions. We value beings that, one, have achieved non-trivial sentience in the past and either currently have or will have sentience in the future. So prior to sentience, this seems, I forgot the reductio slide. This seems to avoid the most problematic reductios that often emerge in these discussions, like sperm rights, saving non-sentient embryos over a born child in a burning IVF lab, or thinking it's fine to kill people who temporarily lose consciousness, like a sleeping person or someone in a coma. This conjunction seems to map best onto these intuitions. So prior to sentience, abortion is amoral, morally neutral. Now, best evidence seems to be that sentience occurs somewhere between 22 to 30 weeks, though there is some evidence, the bottom one here, that could potentially point to sentience arising considerably earlier. So practically speaking, what I would do here is just defer to the consensus of an expert panel on setting a cutoff that uses the ethical principle of meaningful sentience initiation, plus potentially an adjustment to accommodate some precautionary principle on top of that. Now, post-sentience, we have to determine how to weigh the mother's bodily autonomy against the fetus's rights. And when a mother, at what point is a mother responsible for a fetus? So here's where I stand on that. And this conjunction over-determines what I call the responsibility condition. There might be other cases where the mother ought to be responsible, but these conditions over-determine the responsibility condition. So if the mother understood the risk of getting pregnant, willingly engaged in sex, had reasonable means to pregnancy identification and having an abortion, like they had access during the period prior to sentience, and if they still waited until the fetus was non-trivially sentient, then the mother ought be responsible for the fetus. She has effectively forced a person into a state of dependence on her, and she should have an obligation to release that person safely from the state of dependence prior to terminating her responsibility. Of course, I think there's exceptions to this, like anything, like if the mother's life is threatened, for example, but these general principles should cover the majority of cases. And by the way, 90% of abortions in the US occur in the first 12 weeks and 99% occur in the first 21 weeks. But nonetheless, once a fetus is past the point of sentience, and if the responsibility conditions are met, the mother has a responsibility to respect at least the negative rights of the fetus, which, like any rights, should be weighed against other moral considerations, which practically speaking would make most abortions past the point of sentience immoral. So finally, as for practical implications of this in society, there is significance showing harms of preventing women from obtaining abortions. So some examples of this, abortion restricted states had 62% higher maternal death rates, as well as higher neonatal and postnatal death rates in these states as well. And if we look at the hard numbers, pregnancy is about 14 times more risky in terms of death to the mother than is abortion. And there's many non-fatal complications as well. Fact is, forcing someone to carry out a pregnancy increases the risk of death and complications. And that's why prior to sentience, in my view, there's literally no reason to remove a mother's free choice and bodily autonomy, as there's no subject to be harmed by the abortion. And post-sentience, the fetus as well as the mother should be entitled to more moral consideration. And in the cases where these rights conflict, there is a moral discussion to be had, but it should factor in the rights of both individuals. An excellent practical first step would be to improve education. We have good evidence that education works, and this would be effective, especially with younger people, as to proper use of contraception, early detection, and importantly, understanding the moral significance and weight of unknowingly bringing a sentient life into the world in a state of dependence on your body. So I think that's my time.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for coming out to Modern Day Debate. We welcome you here. Once again, if you're hanging out in the live chat and it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Or even if
He's really quiet. Sorry about that, guys.
Subscribe to the channel. We're a neutral debate space hosting debates on science, politics, religion, and we're going to hand it over to First Amendment.
That was a good opening. That was a good opening. He gave it some nuance. I like it.
When you're ready.
This channel's a proxy for Christian nationalism.
Share
Yes,
my
sir.
Screen real quick.
Yes, sir.
Sure thing.
Oh, that's not even my super chat. That's a modern day debate super chat. What the?
I think it's this one.
What the flip?
Start your timer when that's up.
Do you see it?
Yep, we're up.
There it is. There it is. There's that PowerPoint.
Pro-choice versus pro-life on modern day debate. The pro-choice side is supporting the rights of individuals to make their own reproductive decisions, including whether or not to have an abortion. The pro-life argues that believing that an abortion should be illegal or heavily restricted, and that the fetus is having full moral rights from conception. The pro-lifes argue that life begins at conception. We consider that a life is a life, regardless if it is a fetus or a baby. A fetus is still a human being. The moral and religious opposition of ending a pregnancy, God bestowed upon us life, and therefore we must protect it. Adoptions are the alternative. Why are we killing children? The pro-choice argue the bodily autonomy. Nobody is forced to sustain another life at their expense. Much destruction is impacted upon the mother's body, which can never return to its once youthful appearance.
That's
Health
crazy.
And safety concerns.
That's
the
a crazy
young
argument.
have a high propensity of harm upon the body. Over 15% of pregnancies have complications which require medical intervention. The circumstances of things such as incest, rape, and a person's health are taken into consideration. We are not morally reprehensible to deny a 15-year-old to suffer having a child for bad decisions that they have made. There is also an economic impact to consider. This harms an individual's ability to choose when they are ready for a child. The evidence shows that countries with legislated abortions have, in fact, lower mortality rates. There are also restrictive laws do not actually eliminate abortion. It just simply makes abortions more dangerous. 1 in 4 women in the United States will have an abortion by the age of 45. And 59% of women who have abortions are already mothers. Why force more? Morality is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Legislation needs to reflect the diversity of belief. The consequences are that pregnant individuals can be denied care for miscarriages until that they are in critical condition. Increased medical risks in cases such as ectopic pregnancies. Discrepancy in the laws cause doctors to avoid necessary treatments. There is also disproportionate impacts upon low-income communities as well as minorities. The result? Pro-choice is a stronger position. This protects the freedom and public health, leaving the choice up to individuals, not up to a politician or Supreme Court judge 100 to 1,000 miles away who will never take care of the child and, in fact, actively create legislation to make it harder to raise children, i.e. food stamps, social safety nets, Medicaid, Medicare, school vouchers versus public funding. Respects individual moral and religious beliefs without enforcing it on others. Not everyone is a Christian. Also, the Bible isn't even against abortions. You can read Numbers 5:11 to 31 to show that. This also recognizes the complexity of real-life situations. Who is to say that someone must have the baby of their, say, sexual assaulter? This also empowers people to make decisions that are best for their lives as well as their families. End.
Let's go.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was very quick. No worries. So yeah, thank you, First Amender and Michael, for your opening statements. We are going to hand it over to the other side here. I'll just hold this a little closer. I'm going to go grab my gooseneck, just get this a bit closer for you guys so you can hear me better. So we are going to hand it over to the other side. Once again, if you're new to Modern Day Debate, we do a Q&A. I said do. A Modern Day Debate Q&A at the end of the debate. So there's already questions that are pouring in. Lots of people are interested to, get the gorilla on at the end of the show.
The gorilla. Get the gorilla on.
If you feel like asking a question, get it into a
I'm down to
super
get the
chat,
gorilla
we'll
on.
read it out. Yeah, we should have established who was going first on the other side before we got this far, but I'm going to say Shell Shock, where you're the new face here, and we'll let you're all new faces. But Shell Shock, you've been excited to get on here for this topic for a long time, so I'm going to hand it over to you for your 6-minute introduction.
Let's run it.
Thank you so much for coming out to Modern Day Debate.
I think I want to let him kind of take the lead on this, see how he does.
Speaking now, right?
You sure are. Yes, I'll to be the speaker.
Okay,
That's,
so my
that's what we're
opening
trying to do.
statement is very straightforward. Human life starts at conception. Abortion kills a human being.
Oh,
Therefore,
there's me.
abortion is murder. The end.
There's me, guys.
Did you want to maybe take some of your introduction time to maybe respond to some of the things that you heard, since you have?
I can't hear you, Ryan.
Oh, sorry. I'll hold it a little closer. Did you want to take maybe some of your introduction to maybe respond to some of the things that you heard from First Amender and Michael? To establish
I'll do
why
that in
you're
the
not.
opening discussion.
Okay, just because sometimes it's good to establish why you're not in favor of as well. So there you go, Kai. We'll give you a little extra time if you would like to give some representation for your side there, unless you're also pithy. So I'll give you up to 7 minutes to make the pro-life case. So
Awesome.
Thanks so much for coming out to Modern Day Debate.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's good to be here for the first time. I hope it's not the last. Talking with First Amender about potentially setting up something very soon. So I am ecstatic. I don't think I'll take the full time, but I did want to do justice to perhaps a prior debate partner who did do the work of writing out an opening statement. So I'll read part of that opening statement, and then I'll add my own portion. Anyway, today our side will be defending the view that abortion is morally impermissible because it deprives the fetus of a future of value. At first glance, it seems reasonable to be skeptical of assigning rights to humans who do not yet exist but will exist in the future. However, we argue that our cognitive tools responsible for attributing agency to things that don't easily display the relevant kind of behavior, such as moving in a goal-directed manner or producing fear, can elicit intuitions that aren't truth indicative. Our goal is to explicate some of the moral duties that members of present generations have to members of future generations. First, our argument hinges on the thesis that living moral agents have a duty to future humans not to harm them. Common sense morality holds that things like disease, starvation, and death are all harms to human beings, and a state of affairs that raises the likelihood of such harm is itself a harm. For example, certain environmentally destructive actions, such as emitting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, will harm at least a few million people who will be born in the next few decades by exposing them to starvation. So in the present circumstances, we have a pro tanto reason to refrain from actions that will cause future humans to live in a more unstable climate and a world depleted of its biodiversity. Second, we argue that robbing a fetus of future valuable experiences or experience is seriously harmful. Deprivationism, the view that death harms us by depriving us of future goods we would have had if we had not died, has been the leading view in the literature surrounding the philosophy of death. In most cases, it is probabilistically true that absent elective abortion, the fetus would have likely survived and experienced all of the things that we find extremely valuable in our own lives. When I reflect on why death is widely considered to be a misfortune, the most plausible explanation seems to be what it takes from us. A future filled with hopes, dreams, and desires, completing projects, making memories, and having psychological experiences. The pro-life position rests on the simple assertion that the intentional taking of an innocent life ought to be treated in all cases as what it is, murder. We consider the right to life to be axiomatic. All other rights depend on it being secured, so we ought to protect it accordingly. The academic consensus is clear that human life begins at conception, and from that point at which a fertilized egg has attached itself to the uterine wall of the mother, the natural result, barring some extraordinary complication or intervention, is to produce a healthy human child. While the pro-choice position has developed significantly in its rhetoric in recent years and doesn't fall into easily answered talking points, and admittedly in some of the opening statements, some of those talking points were actually brought up, it typically makes as to when we ought to value life. The assertions that it makes now are hardly ever consistent and frequently completely arbitrary. My partner, Shell, and I will be defending then the right to life on each of the following points, but perhaps the most important for our opponents and for us to analyze is this intuition that all human beings have concerning the importance of life as characterized or as understood within that frame of deprivationism. We believe that death is bad because it deprives us of meaningful and inevitable future experiences, and it's for that reason that we ought to be very staunch in our defense of it, along with the fact that all other rights we could argue for, any other human right that the opposition or Shell or I could agree to, are all contingent upon the prior existence of our right to life. And without further ado, we're happy to jump into the beginning discussion.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna do exactly that in just one moment. Thank you to all of our speakers.
Let's
for their
go.
introductory
Did I go off?
statements. And once again, to our audience, smash that like button. We're
Did I go
live
off,
right
Twin?
now. Boost us up in the algorithm.
That last half was
If
mine.
if you're hanging out in other places of the internet, just pop in for a second, give us a like. That's right. If you tell me you're streaming, I'm gonna do all kinds of fun stuff. All right, so let's hand it back over to the other side. Michael, First Amender. Kai has thrown out some stuff there. Shell Shock has said, I think he very quickly.
What's up, Cogburn?
He equates it for murder. So we'll just hand it over to you guys on those notes and see if we can get a nice, good conversation going. So, Michael.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky because I'm not sure First Amender and I agree on a lot of things. So, and I would love to dive into both of those positions. Maybe First Amender, I'll let you start the questioning and then we'll shift over to me at some point later on.
Sure. So for Kai, he was sitting there arguing that abortion is murder. I find that to be particularly disingenuous. The reason why is because the term murder refers to the unjustified killing of a human being. The argument is whether or not that abortion is just. So your very argument is effectively circular. You're saying it is bad because it is bad, effectively. Because when you say that abortion is murder, murder being the unjustifiable human killing of another being, but we contend that it is not unjust, but that it is just. So I don't exactly understand how, say, abortion would be murder if, say, for example, if let's say that there is a child at 15 years old who got sexually assaulted by their uncle. I don't believe that 15-year-old should be having that child. That seems to me obvious. Would you agree that a 15-year-old who has been sexually assaulted by their uncle, that they should carry that baby to term?
Yes, I would agree with that. I'll say just to Michael's point at the beginning, I understand this. Well, hold on. I'm about to respond. Give me a second. And I told you that I don't. I just said that. And there's no need to ask the question twice. Michael, this will, I think, be a little bit of a split up debate. I'll try to get to your points, but I'll address real quick First Amender, who has kind of brought up some of these older talking points within the pro-choice movement. It's incredibly logically consistent. And I would be surprised, First Amender, if you yourself can't explain back to me why I, as a pro-life person, would feel that there is something unjustifiable about, an abortion in the case of, even in the case of something as awful as rape, right? And the reason is this: it is the person that is going to have their potentiality for, a full life, right? Or the fetus, right? The fact of restricting that individual's rights has nothing to do with, the way in which they're conceived, right? It's comparable to robbing somebody else because you yourself has been robbed, right? You're executing the punishment on somebody that was completely uninvolved in the circumstance you find yourself in. That child has done nothing to its mother. Obviously, the mother's rights were trespassed, but the way you solve that situation is certainly not by trespassing the rights of another individual, in this case, the child. And to get to your original idea about, my definition, right, of murder, I'm not saying that you can't argue about how justifiable murder is. There's plenty of countries in the world that justify murder for political causes, right? But we would consider it murder because we feel that their arguments are not sufficient. They don't reach that threshold of justifiability. And like I explained in my opening statement, because every individual does have a right to life, because a fetus is in every case innocent, it is always unjust to terminate a pregnancy, stripping it of that basic right.
I want to jump in here and allow Michael to give some thoughts, and that's my preamp. It's a little fuzzy, and then I want to hear from Shell Shock as well, where we haven't really gotten a true insight into how Shell Shock is going to approach these topics.
I'm totally fine, by the way, if they want to have a bit of a back and forth on this, because again, my position is not aligned with First Amender, so I'm cool to chill for a few minutes and jump in a bit later.
Then I'd ask First Amender just to hang for a second, and we'll let Shell Shock get some of the thoughts out there, so we got an idea of where you're at.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it seems like First Amender is going the bodily autonomy route, while Michael is going more for a personhood route, which is pretty different. In fact, you could actually argue those together. Auntie and Destiny did that. I think, to be honest, it's better for these two debates to be a little bit separated. I think it's better for Kai and First Amender to do like a 20-25 minute back and forth, and then me and Michael can do the personhood thing. So unless Kai, you want to do the personhood
I mean,
thing,
I
I'll debate
also
personhood.
agree with the personhood argument that Michael had presented. I believe that both of them are just as valid. The concern though that I'm now having is I'm considering like, okay, that they believe in keeping a child who's 15 who's been SA'd by their uncle. That to me is wild.
Can we address that then? Can we address that?
Yeah, I would
You
love
do
to
the back
address
and
that
forth.
because
Okay, just because
I'm
this is like a
curious as to,
super
like, if
easy
they-
one. This
like,
is a super easy one to resolve.
Just to be clear, right? Can a child consent to sex?
No.
Okay, but in order to have a baby, they would need to consent. So effectively, they're entering into sex like just from like a strictly contractual obligation standpoint. They're entering into a contract under duress, as in they don't understand what they're going through. There's also the fact that there's a great deal of mortality that is involved with the mother who is 15 years old. The probability of entering into some pretty significant medical complications is very high at that age. So, but for whatever, and on top of it, it's their uncle who had sexually assaulted them, right? So I just want to be clear that, I mean,
I hate uncles.
Perfectly okay. Well, I mean, Kai, think about like, imagine. If
I
you had
look,
a
First
daughter-
Amender, I don't disagree with you that what you're describing is a terrible circumstance. Like, I don't at all want or care to minimize, just how terrible it is when somebody is sexually assaulted, especially by a close family member with whom they ought to have, a relationship of trust. That dynamic makes it even worse. I don't at all disagree with you, and your description of this is a terrible, terrible thing. But you should be able to understand that if what I am saying is the child in the womb has a right to life, to me, it is completely illogical to violate a third party's right to life just because the first party has been violated or has had some right violated by a second party, right? The third party...
But they're entering it under duress.
I understand that.
understand?
I understand that, but the third party has had nothing to do with that. I understand, maybe you're trying to go for a kind of evictionist argument, but again, the womb has been specifically designed for the carrying of a child. The child has done nothing. It has caused no
They're
harm to the
15.
mother.
They're not even fully designed for that yet. They're actually likely to have some pretty significant medical complications.
I understand that.
by
Do you think
taking it to
do you think
term.
that's the fault of the
And not
child?
only that, I
Do you think
can't
that's the
even
fault of the
imagine-
child, First
I
Amender?
can't even imagine the mental anguish that parent is provided that they are successful in doing so. That how much anguish that parent will have to go through basically for the rest of their life.
Okay.
It would be very common that they would have a difficult time even looking at that child normally. They would have a very hard time. And I can
Hold on. First Amender, that's an important point. That's an important point.
Hold on, let me finish.
Let's let Amender
Okay.
finish his thought there.
If I had to guess at your age, right? Let's say you go 10 years into the future, 20 years into the future, you now have a daughter, and there they are at 15. You find out that they have been SA'd by their uncle and they are pregnant, that you are going to look at that daughter in the face and say, you must carry that child to term. I think you really need to reconsider this.
I understand the way that you're framing it. I understand. I don't actually fully understand just how difficult that decision would be. There's a certain amount of empathy that I'm just right now.
You don't.
Correct. I hope that you yourself are not capable of that amount of empathy either. I hope that nothing similar has happened to you. If we're both capable of that kind of empathy,
Well,
that would be very
capable
unfortunate.
Of that empathy, I would not.
Have you been in that situation before? Have you been in that situation?
No, I have not.
Well, then I think you and I are similarly incapable.
I've listened to the stories of.
Well, now he's interrupting me. I'm trying to respond to his point.
The level of anguish is palpable. It really is.
Okay.
He's not being unfair, First Amender. Like, I know it's a little, you guys are getting kind of juicy, but yeah, let's let Kai have some space too.
I appreciate it. You can describe the horror of this situation in any number of ways, and none of them will be inaccurate. But it fails to address the fundamental concern, which is that you cannot resolve any amount of anguish caused in one person's life by executing punishment upon somebody who is completely innocent. Would you be in favor of justifying somebody who has been a victim of an armed robbery by stealing from that person's neighbor?
What? I don't I don't see how that's analogous.
It's analogous because what you're attempting to do is execute the punishment on the child. The child is not responsible.
No, I'm not executing
Well,
the
you
punishment
are.
on the child. I'm allowing the parent to decide whether or not that they want to go
And one
through
of-
that mental anguish the rest of their life, or destroy their body for the rest of their life just because of some arbitrary notion that that life matters.
Well, hold on.
Let's try
This
it-
no.
let's try
I
it
want to
this
respond to
way.
that. Let me respond to that. He just made he made an
Sure,
entirely different
sure,
argument.
Go ahead. I want to. No, it's the same
Just hold your
argument,
question
but
there,
I do want to try one more hypothetical.
Hold your hypothetical. Let me answer the first part there.
I appreciate that. First of all, I when I was reviewing your slideshow, I found this argument about like the deforming of the woman's body like an incredibly interesting point, because that can happen at any point during any pregnancy, no matter how consensual or unconsensual it was. Like deformities can occur just based off of a normal pregnancy. That's not a reason to oppose pregnancy or child rearing.
Well, I just think that should be up to the mother to decide.
Okay, perfect. I agree, which is why I'm not in favor of sexual assault. I am not a sexual assault defender. I think that the woman should have the right to decide,
You
know,
literally
when.
just argued in favor of
No,
forcing
I didn't
a
say-
child to have a baby.
I argued-
after they have been sexually assaulted.
You're kind of correct, but let me rephrase that to be a little bit
Not
more.
kind of. You literally said that was okay. That
I-
you would want that to happen.
No, what I said is that you cannot justify the violation of the child's rights, even if the mother's rights have been violated. Could you explain to me why you can execute the punishment? Which, by the way, no matter what, there is a punishment on the child. The child's life ends. And your justification, by the way, for this can be extended into the third trimester. All of the things you're saying, all of the things that you are saying could logically be extended to the very day prior to birth. The mother would still be deformed. The mother would still have to
make-believe argument. That's not the reality.
You have to be able, First Amendment, you have to be able to engage with hypotheticals. You have to be able to engage with hypotheticals.
In reality, nobody is performing abortions.
The words you just said show me that you're not understanding a hypothetical. The words in reality show me that you don't understand it.
I understand the
All right,
hypothetical,
let's
but
iron out some of these interruptions.
I understand that the hypothetical.
Explain
I'm
it back to
telling
me.
You that in reality, that's not how it works. 25 weeks, an abortion is just inducing birth. That's what it is.
That's not the case at all. That is patently false. That is patently false. Can you describe to me the process of abortion?
What it depends on what particular abortion you're
Chemical abortion, taken via pill. How would you describe that to me?
I don't want to describe you.
But you just said it's the same. You said it's the same as inducing childbirth. So how are they the same? I'll tell you what it does. It stops the.
One more hypothetical.
Okay.
Let's try one more hypothetical. Just for fun.
Can you answer mine though? Can you answer mine though first?
We have here a crack addicted woman. Okay, and they want to score.
Okay.
They want to hold on. I'm giving you a realistic hypothetical. It happens in reality.
Okay.
There is a crack addicted woman, and all they care about is another score of rock. That's it. They don't care about anything else. They just want another score of rock. What do they do in order to get another score of rock? They don't have any money. They actually go to their drug dealer and then they offer them sex. And then the drug dealer has sex with them without a condom, and then the crack mother gets their crack rock. However, as they are going along, they are getting more. They are becoming pregnant, and then they are going to have that baby. Sadly, that baby will likely be crack addicted and will likely be put on the side of the sidewalk or literally abandoned as soon as that they are birthed, and then the baby died. Would you rather have that, or would you rather the crack mother, I don't know, get an abortion? Just curious.
I would rather the child be carried to term.
Okay, all right. This is completely insane. I don't know what.
I think everything I've said is like super logically consistent. No. Michael, I'll let you jump in.
You are inducing.
Michael, can you talk to First Amender? Have I said anything that's logically inconsistent or ridiculous?
Well, maybe if it's okay, because this maybe goes into one of the exceptions to my position that you're talking about. With I'm just checking whether I can say that word. Did you answer that question in the chat? Right?
I think it's. Well, let's see. How long have we been going right now?
I say grape, or should I say the other thing?
You can say SA or grape.
SA? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I keep it safe just because other people are streaming. I don't know where you're streaming right now.
Fine.
But
Yeah.
let's just keep
it
it
for
everybody.
Fine.
Cool.
Okay. Because the bodily autonomy argument I think does hold up in the case where the person was put into that situation under duress. And this would exist outside of the context of abortion as well. Like, just think about if you and I, Kai, got just knocked out and somebody hooked us up together such that I was in a state of dependence on you for 9 months prior to, like, you know, them cutting the tie and releasing me. Like, do you think you would not be entitled to your bodily autonomy in that case?
Shell, you can jump in. Sorry, I've been going for a while. Jump in.
Okay, Michael. Yes. Do you want to follow it up, or should I respond?
Well, because in specifically, I don't think this holds up in the case of most
Grab some mate.
pregnancies where there was willingness, willing participation in sex. But in the case of SA, I do think that holds up, and so that's where I was just wanting to push Kai a little bit. But sure, yeah, go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, let's hear your thoughts there, Shell Shock.
Okay, so so in regards to the rape case, my first question to you would be like this. Let's say you do wake up to another person and you're plugged to that individual, similar to the violinist argument. Have you heard of the violinist argument?
Yeah.
Right. So are you allowed to unplug from the violinist? Sure. Yes. Okay, but you're not allowed to kill the violinist. That's the difference. You're not allowed to push the violinist into a room where you know that violinist will die. To an unborn baby,
I don't know what's about to happen.
Any place outside of the mother's womb might as well be a poisonous
No,
gas.
that was built into the hypothetical, Shell. It was built into the hypothetical that they hooked us up in such a way that by disconnecting himself from me, it would kill me.
That's correct.
I understand. No.
First Amender jumping in there.
Not you.
Well, okay, so Kai is the mother in this case, and I am the fetus or whatever.
Mama.
But the hypothetical is somebody knocks us out, hooks me up to him such that my life is dependent on his blood, whatever it is, right? For 9 months or whatever. If Kai wakes up to see that this is the case, maybe I'm unconscious even for now. We'll regain consciousness in 9 months or something, or partway through. And so does Kai have bodily autonomy? So, like, should he have the right to cut whatever thing this evil person set up and go on his way, or should he be obligated to stay for 9 months? I think my opinion is that he does. This is one case where bodily autonomy does go through, and he does have the right to disconnect.
Sure. I wanted to kind of push back on this. I agree with you, and this is maybe this is something Kai and I will disagree on. But I do think that an argument can be made that you can unplug from this individual, right? But abortion is not unplugging. Okay, it's killing the fetus. That's the difference. So my question to you would be like this: let's say Kai wakes up. Can he chop your head off or any body part to regain his bodily autonomy? That's my first question.
Well, you can ask that question, but I will just note that it was built into the hypothetical that I gave you that by unplugging, he is killing me. That in a similar way to when you abort a fetus at a certain age, that it would kill them.
No. The unplugging is essentially the difference here. When you unplug somebody, you don't kill them. You're essentially letting them die. Right?
Okay, we'll just build that into the hypothetical.
Baked into the hypothetical,
through my neck, and the only way to unplug is by cutting a thing that.
Oh, then no. My answer would be no.
I mean, sure, you can take that position. I think that I would take that to be a reductio.
I'll give you a realistic example of this. We have a thing called conjoined twins. We have conjoined twins that are one-sidedly are dependent on the other, but one conjoined twin cannot kill the other conjoined twin to regain his bodily autonomy. We already have realistic examples of this. So if the only way to regain your bodily autonomy is to violate the bodily autonomy of the person you're forced to be that is forced to be dependent on you.
Well, we kill conjoined twins all the time, especially if they're the weaker form. It's often like at a health detriment of the other person.
We also in Sweden we also abort 9 out of 10 children with Down syndrome.
Conjoined twin.
No. Okay, listen.
I don't think that's the argument that you want to address. There,
okay.
I'm addressing it. Don't worry. I'm addressing it. Okay. You're misjudging two different arguments. One of the main reasons two people separate is because you can separate them and then they can both live relatively decent lives. That's reason number one. That's why we separate them. We don't separate them because one has asserted some bodily autonomy over the other. That's reason one. Reason two, when you're talking about the health detrimental, Usually there are these things called parasitic twins, which is one alive twin and one dead twin, which the dead twin can be removed because it's dead, right? It is providing a health detriment to the first twin. And the third one, which is that one-sided, the one that I just mentioned, one-sided care for one twin but not the other. These twins are not allowed to separate because they violate each other's autonomy. I don't think that anyone reached the age of 18. The closest one that I can think of was a conjoined twin who had one kidney that both of them were using, and they separated at the age of 4. And that question was brought up that, oh, but conjoined twin B was exclusively using conjoined twin A's body, but the court at the time said, well, you can't violate conjoined twin B's bodily autonomy. So that was one instance, but that's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. So Michael, do you disagree with that? Do you think that a conjoined twin A can kill conjoined twin B?
I love that hypothetical. I haven't thought about that one. My initial instinct, which I reserve the right to modify upon further consideration, would be no. And let me try to think about what the symmetry breaker is between that and the case where somebody like the knocked me out thing. Because would you agree in my hypothetical? Do you agree with like Kai? I'm curious to your opinion on this. Like, do you think it's morally permissible to cut the tie?
No.
You
no. You can unplug, at least for now. I'm not entirely confident on a counter argument to this. I'd be curious to hear Kai's answer to this. But you can unplug from the person that you're connected to. So you can unplug from it.
If it would kill them.
But that's not. Yeah, but the way you're saying the word killing is confusing me, right? If you are violating the bodily autonomy of the person you're connected to, then I would say no, because you can't do that in the case of conjoined twin, which you agreed with me.
Let's say if somebody is like hungry and they need to eat, right? And so they come at you with a knife and say, hey, listen, I'm going to cut your belly open unless if you give me food. Are you obligated to give them food? Would you say?
No.
How about this? How about this, First Amender?
Because they could damage your body.
Let's make it more analogous, First Amender. What if your child, what if your kid comes up to you and says, I need to eat. Give me food, Mom.
Hold on, just go ahead.
I haven't fit. So the reality is that when there is a baby gestating in the body, it is empirically damaging the body. It is. A lot of people think that it is not the case, but there is a ton of different negative physical as well as mental outcomes that are quite negative towards the mother. They are, in effect, damaging the body of that mother. You can observe women who have to go through stretch marks, women who have differences in the hormones as a result, women who have different fat placement that never returns back to its original appearance. It is effectively, by the virtue of having the child, they are damaging the body. And so I don't feel that the fetus has a right to damage the body without consent of the mother. And so that's where I'm like, where you say like abortion is murder, I don't feel that it is unjust to say, I don't want that to happen.
Sure. But that's what we're arguing about, right? Where Kai and I think it is murder, therefore it should be illegal. That's the point of the debate. But to put that as, I'm going to answer your question.
I'm saying, like, do you understand like where I'm coming from here? Does it?
No, I do understand that. That's why we're debating, right?
I don't see how it's like, okay, like, do you go as far as Kai where you say you're okay with the crack mother example and you're also okay with the 15-year-old who's been essayed by their uncle?
Yes.
On both of those instances.
First Amender, this is not wild. This is like, I don't think you could be a pro-life person without actually showing a level of consistency on both of those claims. Like, that's why I understand that. And if a mother, like let's say a mother suffers,
suffering is unironically just worse
to
have that child than it is to allow the mother to decide.
There are so many.
Hold on. Kai's trying to jump in. So, all right, we'll let you rephrase.
You go ahead, Shell.
Also trying to respond.
I would not be okay with giving mothers the ability to kill their own babies. Now, does that sentence sound more acceptable?
No.
No. Okay. So you
No.
want mothers to have the ability to kill their own babies? You think that
Correct.
that is it?
Yeah,
And
because it's
I'm the
their
crazy
body.
one?
Their body is no, because to have the baby is effectively damaging the body of that mother. The mother ought be the one to decide whether or not that they have that happen. There are so many cases where a mother did not decide that, and there's a ton of additional complications that occur. It's very common in say for example, anti-abortion states that specifically avoid things like trying to avoid an ectopic pregnancy, because the actual law itself, it can be very
What occurs in an ectopic pregnancy?
it's where the cell attaches to the side of the fallopian tube instead of the uterus, and as a result, if the baby grows there, the mother will die. They will bleed out and die. It needs to be removed, and it's quite often that in pro-life states, because of the arbitrariness in the law, and they don't actually understand the medical associations with it, they just simply have blanket abortion bans. It results that the doctors just avoid it to avoid the issue. This results in the mother only having a very short period of time to go to a different state and have the ectopic pregnancy removed.
Okay, so do you mind if I jump in here, Shell? Is it cool? I think this whole argument, like the issue from the very get-go has been that you're qualifying another individual's right to life by the amount of suffering that it can induce in the mother's life, for example. We could extend this in any number of ways. And first of all, just rhetorically, the child in the womb.
It's also society as well.
Okay. Oh, well, hold on. First Amendment. That makes it even worse. It's like you could induce any great amount of societal suffering, right? Like, let's say that the child is born and that child becomes a drug addict. That child becomes that crack addict. They do so intentionally. The mother witnessing their child grow up that way and commit, let's say they commit crimes, they rob people. A mother's heart would break to see that kind of thing. At no point would that give the mother the right to kill her child because of the amount of suffering that they are inducing on the rest of society or on the mother herself. Would you agree or disagree with that? Do you think the mother has a right to kill her child because of the amount of suffering that they're causing to other people or to the mother?
I believe that a mother should be the one that decides as to whether or not that they carry a child to term.
Okay, so it's only only if they're in the womb still. Like once they're born, the mother can no longer decide to kill her child.
Correct.
Okay, so are you in favor of abortions like up till the day of birth?
The only instances where an abortion would even be remotely...
I didn't ask you about the number of cases or the likelihood of that being the case. I asked you a hypothetical about whether or not you support it.
That at all. I don't know why you...
Okay, then respond. I was going to... Yeah, I think you were going a different direction, my bad.
Post 25 weeks where it's even remotely acceptable is if the mother's life is in danger and there's zero chance of saving the child. That's the only instances.
Why is it only acceptable in those cases?
That's well, because you could just induce a pregnancy at post 25 weeks. Abortions just aren't performed post 25 weeks. There's very, very rare scenarios where that's
okay. You just made the argument that I knew you were going to make.
The thing, right?
The amount
when I'm looking at societal outcomes regarding abortions, it's horrendous.
We've gone over that.
Have access to abortion.
We've gone over that.
You're talking about higher maternal mortality.
Okay. Before you start moving along, Kai wanted to respond to your previous point. So
yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, there's just like I don't know how we're going to get to the point in this debate where we can actually engage on this issue of how to justify violating another individual's right to life. And every single time that you've kind of shifted the goalpost on it, it's been arbitrary. All of the things that you were describing concerning why a mother has hold on.
Arbitrary.
That's not at all the case. You can logically justify them. You can show a level of consistency. For example, the right to life is not arbitrary.
My level is consistent.
It's not. It is
arbitrary.
That's not the case. The right to life is axiomatic. All other rights depend on it.
It is also arbitrary.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's just stay on the point. He's trying to bring it to God. Can we? Okay, awesome. You're the only one here in this debate talking about the Bible. But anyway, let's get.
Your morals
I mean, can I just finish a point, please? all of the places where you have gone. For example, your argument about human suffering being the reason that, or the mother's suffering, the mother's bodily, deformations as a result of birth or as the result of carrying a pregnancy to term. Something, by the way, as trivial as stretch marks. I don't think that we should be talking maybe about stretch marks as such a bad. Hold on. Stop interrupting me. I understand that, but including stretch marks in a conversation about how to justify the death of a child, maybe that's a negative thing. Maybe if we talk about that in that way, women who have stretch marks are going to feel more negative about them. Maybe I have stretch marks, and I'm now thinking that it's a more terrible thing than it is.
We're getting terribly off.
I'd like to finish if I can.
So we were talking about 25 weeks plus is kind of what First Amender was talking about there, and saying that things were exceptional cases that were risked the life of the mother, and that they would have like a non-viable fetus. So let's try to focus on that argument, whether you dispute that or if you think that something else is going on. So just to try to get it back in on that vein.
Absolutely. I think at its most basic, what First Amender is doing, he's kind of gish galloping. He's using like whatever he can, but then when I try to apply his justifications for abortion in different circumstances, like for example the third trimester, he then drops those contentions like about human suffering, because the human suffering certainly still exists in the third trimester, even more so because the child is larger, there's more bodily deformity, there's arguably more psychological damage. But in these cases, he won't apply the same, his same rule of, well, it causes human suffering. He'll go back and he'll shift the goalpost back to the point of, well, it's actually about when you can induce a pregnancy. Well, what about the day prior to the
inducing a pregnancy post 25 weeks?
And okay,
outside of the womb. It's just
all right.
Practical consideration.
With the permission of the moderator, I do want him to justify one thing, and if we could, I'd like you, moderator, to jump in the moment he gets off topic. First Amender, please explain to me how an abortion is just inducing a delivery, or what was the term you used? I don't want to mischaracterize it.
Post 25 weeks.
An abortion is?
If somebody wanted an abortion post 25 weeks, the doctor would go, okay, that's just a pregnancy and giving it away for adoption. It is viable outside of the womb. There is no need.
That's not the case.
Abortion. So that is 100% the case.
You're telling me that
perform a C-section. Yes, that is the case.
So they just deliver the child.
That's why Michael McCaffrey. Yes, that's exactly what they do.
They don't call that an abortion. They call it a delivery. The child's born.
Yeah, that's correct. It's called a delivery. I'm simply telling you, after 25 weeks, they simply deliver the baby. Michael McCaffrey even showed a chart to show how little abortions happen post 25 weeks. It's literally almost non-existent. The only instance where it would be existent is where it's like the life of the baby is basically zilch and the mother's life is at stake.
First Amender,
a necrotic baby.
In that last sentence, you contradicted yourself. I don't know if you caught it. You said that there are no abortions, there's just deliveries after the 25-week point. And then you told me that's why so few abortions happen after 25 weeks. There's two different things. An abortion after the second trimester is not just a delivery.
Black and white.
I don't.
He actually can't think gray area.
I think.
We can move on to something substantive.
I think the point you were maybe trying to make, though, is that not all abortions result in the death of the fetus. Sometimes it's viable. If I'm trying to straighten that out a little bit. If
it's not an abortion at that point. It's
correct.
Just inducing a birth.
Yeah, right? It's delivery.
25 weeks.
You're calling it abortion. I don't understand why you're doing that.
Only under very, very extreme scenarios that third trimester an abortion is performed. It's generally not performed. They just induce a birth.
Hold on. If an abortion and a delivery are the exact same thing, then why? Okay.
The problem is that
Michael, am I crazy?
Societally speaking, by arguing your
Am I crazy, Michael?
Empirically, the society you have created is worse, right? In your society, where say that you want to have, you don't want to have any abortions, and you would go so far as to creating effectively so much more suffering upon humanity. You're going to increase maternal mortality. You're going to increase unsafe abortions. You're going to increase delayed care for miscarriages and complications. You're going to increase poverty. You're going to create worse outcomes for children. You're going to create strains on social.
I'm going to ask you to put this.
You're going to create a disproportionate impact on low-income people. What?
Right. I do want to hand the floor over to Michael to try to push the conversation along a little bit. So maybe you can help straighten out some of the confusion here, where it seemed like, from my understanding, and I think that Kai was also kind of communicating that, is that abortion is anytime you shift from like what would be a natural birth process, like a C-section is aborting from the natural birth process. Sometimes that baby is alive, but you'd still call it an abortion because they're not going through with a natural birth. I don't know. Maybe we've got this kind of all backwards at this point, but
Thanks, though.
help straighten us out there, Michael.
Well, I don't know if I can straighten out. I mean, I'd have to read the paper and see how they were classifying abortions. My intuition is that when they say abortion, they're referring to cases where they are killing the fetus, not when they're just delivering a baby early.
Yeah, delivery, just to jump in, a C-section is a method of delivering the baby. Like, and to what First Amendment was saying, there are a ton. If that's the case, like if we're using these terms simultaneously, like a delivery via C-section in the third trimester, there are then a ton of third trimester abortions.
Would be
not an abortion.
Voluntary induced early labor or something, but or C-section, or a voluntary C-section or something. But the numbers are so low that I can't imagine that it's including those. I don't know why that's relevant anyway to this. To me, it's like, it's kind of wild.
All right, Michael. How about you and I do a bit back and forth? Then?
Well, I want to hear Michael out. I want to hear Michael out.
I'm happy if anyone who wants to talk about the personhood thing, First Amendment included, can jump into this.
I wish we could actually talk about it's my opening statement.
Talking about externalities like.
I wish we could do that.
Benefit to society or those kind of things when we're talking about someone who we do value as a person. And like, if we're talking, because you would never use this kind of argument to say whether I should be able to kill someone. You wouldn't talk about like, well, what sort of good are they providing to society and what sort of quality of life will they be having? You don't talk about that because you're talking about a right that a person has, a negative right that they have, protecting their life, right? So if we agree that the fetus at some point during the point of pregnancy is deserving of those rights, all of the externalities are not even on the table for discussion. So the question to me becomes like, at what point? And I think that's really the only point of contention between the pro-lifers and I, other than maybe how to handle some of the what do you call them, the exceptions, like the case of SA. I think we disagree, but that's fine. That's pretty rare. But I think that the main thing we disagree on is when do we attribute that personhood, let's say, such that we start granting moral consideration and negative rights. So does it seem fair to talk about our two different views and go into that? Seeing nodding, amazing.
Right.
So Kai, you read or I don't even know where we want to go first. There's sort of two different ones on the table. Maybe I'll start with Shell, since he laid out a very succinct modus ponens.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right back, by the way.
Yeah, go for it. I jotted down, and it was human life. Did I get this right? Human life begins at conception.
Give me just a thing, guys.
P1 is wrong to kill humans. That's P2, and then the conclusion would be abortion is wrong. And you could clean that up so that I'm not worried about that. That's a summary?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into that. You say human life begins at conception. Can you explain to me why you would place that point on the point of value?
Well, because that's when a separate human being starts, right? Like, do you disagree that a separate individual human being has come into existence? Like physically?
It depends what you mean by conception, I guess. Like there are.
Okay. You put the precautionary principle at 12 weeks, right?
For sentience, yeah.
Yeah. So at 11 weeks, we still have arms and legs, right? Of the fetus. Right?
Of course.
Yeah. So that arm and leg doesn't belong to the mother, right? When we say how many arms does the mother have, she doesn't say 4. How many legs does the mother have? We don't say 4, we say 2, right? And because the arms and the legs belongs to the fetus. the process of this fetus's existence starts from the moment of conception based on the medical information that biologists have stated, right?
Sort of, and that's why I say it depends what you define as conception, because
Conception,
Like-
when the egg fertilizes when the sperm fertilizes the egg, not
Yeah,
implantation,
because
conception.
when the sperm fertilizes the egg, there isn't unique DNA. There's two separate nuclei
It takes 24 to 48 hours.
So
for syngamy to complete, right? So you would be fine with like morning after pill, for example, then?
Well, the morning after pill affects implantation, which I would be against.
No.
But if there was,
It does. It
Oh
can,
my God.
but it affects
That's why I'm
completion of
against it.
syngamy,
All right.
which
Let's let
is-
First Amender jump in here. I can see your.
so like
deployment.
here's the
hang
problem.
on, like First
we could-
Amendment had a full conversation. Let Michael and I talk. Then First Amendment, you can come back.
Well, I mean, we try to make it so that it's fair for everybody to jump in, give their thoughts. It's an open panel, so.
First
We
Amendment,
could
I'm
talk-
asking you.
I
Can
do
Michael
want
and I
everybody's
have a
thoughts to
much
do
Show-
it.
more
show
conversation
shot.
on
Just,
this?
We
just
could
one
talk-
second.
we could talk all day about the moral implications of abortion. However, what I find the most annoying part about this is that you can actually be pro-life in a pro-choice world, but you can't be pro-choice in a pro-life world. So the problem that
True.
I'm having, of course, is that people obviously, based on our conversation, based on listening to other people, based on what I'm hearing Michael say, Kai and Shellshock say, we obviously have different views on this. So rather than it be up to each individual to decide whether or not to have a baby, instead it is now up to a politician or a Supreme Court rep 100 to 1,000 miles away. That's the concern that I have. That to me is completely insane. And you don't agree with that.
All right, but
Okay.
back over to you,
Let
Shellshock.
me rephrase why that question doesn't make sense. If we lived in the
That
era
wasn't a
of
question.
slavery-
That was a statement.
No, why your statement doesn't make sense. There you go, huh? The reason being is that if we lived in an era of slavery, right? I wouldn't be
All
able
right,
to
gentlemen,
speak.
what did we
but
miss?
If we lived in an era of slavery, right, you wouldn't say to me that,
What did we miss?
someone who doesn't want to own slaves can live in a world where slavery is legal, but somebody who wants slavery to be
Are
legal
you really
can't live in a
equivocating
world.
slavery to abortion?
Bro.
No, it's worse because slavery people can be freed.
Oh,
Abortion,
Jesus
you
Christ.
kill
So,
babies.
so let me
if-
just
if you-
let,
hold on,
let
hold
me
on.
just be clear, right?
How did this
Let
get
me
back?
ask you this.
How did this get back to First Amender?
Hold on.
How did this? How did we let this
I
get
just-
back to
just
First
out of
Amender?
curiosity.
Somebody
Just
tell
out
me,
of
please.
curiosity.
My
I'm curious. I have two societies. Society A, abortion is banned. Society B, but I'm sorry.
Bro, I'm so
abortion
sorry.
is banned.
I feel
but
bad for the
slavery is
moderator,
legal.
bro.
And then society B,
I feel so
where
bad for the
slavery
moderator.
is banned, but abortion is legal. Which
This
one
is
would you
false
pick?
choice. This is just a
The
false
one with
choice.
abortion being banned but slavery being legal.
It's also just like a total false choice. It's like this. What is at all relevant? What is at all relevant?
Morals are completely
Hold on,
fucked.
hold on, First Amendment.
Well, let's not say the F word, pal. Okay.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm just gonna
Okay,
place you
First
on a
Amendment.
soft
Would
mute
you
there, First
rather
Amendment.
live in
So,
a world?
let's
Wait,
just
is it my
get back
turn?
to points. So there's one of my little pet peeves is that somebody will be looking on screen like, oh, this person is about to really drop the ball and make it. They'll say, oh, you're about to make this argument. It's like, if you think it's really awful, just let them make it, so that then you can really nab it out of the park if you just keep letting them step in it as far as you see it, right? So let's let Shellshock make this point that has given you so much cause for pause. So go ahead, Shellshock.
Would you rather live in a world where black people are treated like slaves? But
I miss nothing of value. Thanks for the update, man. I'm unsurprised.
People can be killed.
What? I would live in a world where slavery is
What is
illegal
happening?
and abortions
That
are
was
legal.
All right, let
me check here. Do we have any
Crazy
super chats?
person.
I'm gonna ask you the hypothetical again. I answered
Like your
hypothetical.
morals
Do
are
we have any super chats?
completely gone if that's your
can't answer my
position.
hypothetical.
I feel bad that
You
I'm
and
not
I,
engaging
just
in the
like from a
debate, but
fundamental
just wanted to
axiom,
check.
We'll never be able to agree
Okay,
after
I'm gonna ask the
hearing
question
that
again
argument.
until you
That
answer it.
and I
okay?
think anybody.
What is
who's remotely
First
logical
Amender? What is an
realizes
axiom? What is an axiom?
Axiom is a brute fact, something that is just it is rooted into some basal position. It's just assumed.
I'm gonna ask the
Yes.
question again, First Amender.
All right.
Would
And I
you
want to
rather
hand
live in
it
a
back
world?
to Michael to engage here.
Okay, let me just ask
with
this
this
question for
conversation.
Amanda to answer, and then Michael can ask me or whatever question he wants.
Well, let's get back to
First
that.
Amender, would you rather live in a world where slavery is legal for black people, but black people can't be killed, or would you rather live in a world where black people can be killed? Which is worse?
Where black people can be killed.
Thank you. Okay, Michael, whatever you
Back
want
over
to
to,
ask.
I think
I don't know what that has
reason
to
he's
do with
asking
anything. I mean,
that-
we
This
already
is
have
crazy.
black people
Hold
dying.
on.
This is a
I think the
crazy.
reason he's
Just try to get
asking
back to
that, First Amender, is to show that killing is worse. And so the question is whether we agree that the fetus.
Would you rather be a slave the rest of your life or dead? I'd rather be dead. I got news for you. I'm going down fighting, bro.
Okay.
I want to let you know that I'm going down fighting, and I will be dead.
I can't, bro. I
I'm
can't.
not going to be a slave for somebody.
Okay.
Wait, but if you go down fighting,
No,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry. You go.
Okay. I don't know why we.
I'm sorry.
Go into that, but
If you go down fighting, isn't that in order to preserve your own life? Question mark.
To narrow in, Shell, on. You said it's the point at which they're a person that you mentioned conception. I was trying to zero in on whether you said when the egg is fertilized, and I was just pointing out that the point at which the egg is fertilized is not the point at which there is unique human DNA, right? So
I ascribe by what the medical professionals tell me, which is that human life starts at conception. Now, the conception part takes 24 to 48 hours. If you're saying unique DNA occurs after that, that's fine. But unique DNA is not just the reason why I value.
I'm not saying it occurs after that. I'm saying it's about a day for syngamy. So yeah, if by conception you mean the period, the window of time.
Yeah, after that's over, like not just immediately it touches and we're crossing it. It does take 24 to 48 hours for conception to occur. So after conception has occurred, then it is a new unique human life.
So, Michael, just FYI, right? Shell Shock had just got done telling you that rather than live in an anti-slavery, pro-abortion side, Shell Shock would rather live in a world where slavery was legal and abortions are illegal. His moral compass is he has completely lost the plot. He is in post-reality world. I don't know what else to say.
Hold on. I don't want to keep muting at you, but before Michael forgets what Shell Shock just said.
I'm not gonna forget. It's all good.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you were interrogating my position.
Yeah. So okay. So you're saying there's sort of a squishy window where, and at some point during that squishy window is when the value is instantiated in the being, correct?
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing for you on consciousness, right? You don't know the exact moment, but
I agree.
you take the precautionary.
I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just clarifying.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. But the thing that matters to you, when the clear case I can point to on the other side of sentience is non-trivial sentience, right? Non-trivial subjective experience with the world, likely an ability to feel and process pain, not necessarily, but likely. Things like that is what I can point to as the earliest case where there is a clear-cut case on one side of it. What is the equivalent of that in your view? What is the thing you would point to that's clearly on the side of moral value, but as close to the first point as you can?
Corpses.
No, sorry. The earliest point. So if you're saying conception is the point where moral value is instantiated, I'm saying sentience is the point where moral value is instantiated. I point to the non-trivial awareness of the world, let's say, as the earliest point at which I would clearly point to that this is an example of a thing that has value. There's some EEG data around the 12-week thing. I'm not really so sure. The earliest one I point to is where we clearly see that this thing has subjective.
The thing that I'm valuing is
what is the thing that you would point to as the earliest thing that you're confident has moral value?
I would say when the physical existence of another individual human being comes into existence based on the medical information made available. So even though for example, as an
Fusion of
adult,
the two nuclei.
I'm not sure on the medical detail per se. Okay, I don't know the full medical detail.
Okay.
So
But like, it
would,
seems weird to me that you can't articulate that if that's like if you're so certain that this is like equally valuable to like you or me or a 2-year-old child, like why are you unclear on what's going on at the cellular level such that you would say like, 2 hours ago this thing they were, they looked this way and now they look this way, and oh my god, this one is super valuable but this one I don't care about at all. Like it seems weird to me.
The reason being is I take what the professional medical specialists tell me, which is that human life starts at conception. If
But
to
you
put it in
realize that
another
that's
way,
just it's a
if
definition,
they told
right?
me
Like,
if they told me human life starts 6 weeks after conception, I would ascribe that viewpoint.
okay, but why do you care about what, like, they're just putting a category, like human life could be a skin cell on your arm, right? Like that is
but the difference here is that there's a difference between an extension of a person and a separate individual human organism, right? So my finger, even if chopped off of me, is still my finger, right? But if you
Okay.
chop off the fetus's arm at 11 weeks, before sentience, you didn't chop off the mother's arm, you chopped off the fetus's arm.
I don't know where this is
And
going.
so I know this isn't your position. I'm just going to articulate why that's different on my view. So I would say there is no thing to like, it's a cluster of cells that is not a thing yet. It is not sentient. There is no person. There is nothing there.
Do you acknowledge it's a human being? Being without personhood.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, like a corpse.
Like a corpse. Exactly.
Right. Okay. Does a corpse have bodily autonomy?
Does it? No.
No. You can rape a corpse?
I believe that there is a level of bodily autonomy that is endowed upon corpses. Like we don't like
First Amender
we
W.
don't desecrate a
First
corpse, for
Amender
example.
W. Hold
I
on.
think you can tell where I'm going with this,
There's
Michael.
a level.
But
It's
this is
obviously
very
less
go.
than that of like a living entity, but it's there.
It has nothing to do with the intrinsic value of a corpse, right? In the real world, you would not do this because there are externalities that would almost certainly cause me to disavow that action.
Such as?
Like distress of the loved ones if they found out.
So if the loved ones wanted to fuck a corpse?
The person's, sorry.
Well, let's not say the F word.
Oh.
Pardon me?
No, Michael. I was censuring Shell. But let's say the family members aren't present, like nobody knows. Would it be fine?
Yeah, and like in this completely entirely controlled
scenario.
video game like hypothetical, then sure. Like if you want to make the case, that like, but where I would stand is like, you are falsely, you're using that to prove a point that doesn't exist because, if you wanted to make real world like conclusions from that, you would have to make a case that this is a real world scenario that I would sign off on. You know what I mean? Like
So
in
I
your
wanna
video
push
game
back
scenario,
on-
yes, I sign off on the hypothetical, but in the real world, I don't think there is a case that I would sign off on. Does that make sense?
Okay, I wanna ask you this question. Do you think evil people exist?
Bruh.
No, I don't think that. Like, it depends how you
Do you
define
think people
evil.
that commit immoral actions exist?
Say again?
Do you think people that commit immoral actions
course.
exist?
Of course.
Do you think people who commit immoral actions will take advantage of the law where it's legal for them to commit what a normal person would perceive as an immoral action?
Sure.
Right. So
What
if
is
that's
what
the
is
case,
happening right now in this
can
debate?
it not be possible
I'm confused.
for a single father or a single mother to take advantage of their child?
Anxiety juice, anxiety straw,
as they
real.
see fit?
Your question is it possible for that to happen? Yes, of course.
So you would be okay with that. You would say that that should be legal.
I replay my exact answer to you that, like, I don't agree because of
necrophilia
externalities,
happen, man?
right? Like, if we want to live in a society where I want to live in a world where I don't think that's going to happen to my corpse or the corpse of my friends or my children, and so I don't want this to be a thing that people do, so I would condemn it. But if there was this this video game scenario where all conditions are controlled, there's literally zero chance of anyone finding out.
No, not anyone
There's
finding
no,
out.
like a corpse is a corpse. There's no moral value. So yeah.
No, not anyone finding out. Those are two separate things. I'm saying, okay, listen, let's say that I have a kid, okay, the kid dies. Can I put my dick in it?
Same answer, dude. Like,
No, yes or no?
Jesus.
Yes or no?
hypothetical video game world answer.
First
fine.
Amendment,
I'm
bro.
a single
Not
father. I'm a
thing.
single father.
Real, what?
I'm a single father, so the property rights.
No,
of
and
the
if this is a real world example that where you're not like hyper closely controlling all of these externalities, then my answer is no. If it's a video game like controlled setting where you can like guarantee that all of these externalities are controlled, then
what externalities? Explain this to me. What do you mean by externalities?
Externalities.
Let's try to
meaning-
make it quick because I'm starting to wonder what I'm doing with my life. All right. All right. Just,
How long are we going, by the way? What's our time limit here?
we're at an hour and 15 about. So generally we'll wrap around an hour and 20. But you know, if there's another point we want to go into something a little.
I mean, I've already like. Here's
Making
the
us all
thing, like.
cringe.
like,
You've made your point, First Amender.
Going back, I mean, again, like going back into like trying to understand in Shell Shock's world, 2024, or I'm sorry, let's say like 2015 is like a nightmare to him. Slavery is illegal and abortion is legal. He would just love to live in 1830 where
Based.
slavery is legal and abortion is illegal. Like that is a better world in Shell Shock's mind. I don't know how to speak to somebody like that. That's beyond like any axiomatic approach that I can even say. And at that
Any
point, it's
axiom?
like,
Why
it
did you
just
throw the
becomes-
word
yeah,
axiomatic
it becomes-
into there?
Yeah,
The big
yeah,
word is
because
that-
it's like
is that
all right. I
mass
believe in
murder
the
of
basic
children.
bodily autonomy of individuals,
no,
right?
but, Amanda, you
Like
have
I
to, like,
believe in
take
that.
Amanda, listen to Michael.
Fundamentally,
Context of his view.
right? And if
His
you
view is that it's
disagree
murder-
with that and you
Hold on.
want
Amanda,
to
listen to
violate
Michael.
the bodily
Hold
autonomy
on.
of individuals, we got a problem.
All right, that's your sentence. What's going on over there, Michael?
I like how Michael is trying to defend me.
no, he just sees it.
No,
Michael,
no, no,
hold on.
no.
Everybody quiet. Michael, let's go.
Yeah, Michael's.
I go.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
just
gonna
thinking,
say-
like you're not attacking it from a place that makes sense because if he's right that like he views it as children, right? You wouldn't sign off on a world where you would accept the mass killing of children in exchange for slavery. You wouldn't sign off on that world either. So the only difference in your view, it's not like this wild, crazy difference. It's just he thinks fetuses, non-sentient fetuses are children, and you don't. That's the only difference. And so the entailments of that fact, like he's consistent with that, right? So I'm just saying, like,
I mean, but except we can observe the level of suffering regarding slavery and anti-abortion clauses were far, 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 far worse than say 2015, where abortion is perfectly permissible and slavery is illegal.
So I have a question for
Suffering
Michael.
is so innumerable
I got a question
that
for
I don't even know how to. I can't even
didn't even get
address
into
it.
it.
Right? His
I'm telling you.
moral compass is completely gone.
All right, go ahead there, Kai, with your question.
Awesome. This is going to open up a whole new can of worms, but I do just want to get kind of your base response to it. So in the opening statement, way back when, in the opening statement, I talked a little bit about this idea of deprivation. By the way, about the violinist argument, to get back to that point, I think the place where it becomes disanalogous, right, is in the case of pregnancy being in the womb, right? I do think that a child has a right to its mother's womb. I think that's the case. I think that the child has rights to plenty of the parent's resources, no matter how they're conceived. If a child is conceived by rape, I don't think there's any point wherein the parent can absolve itself of a right to care for the child, no matter how it's conceived. So that's what I would say would be the disagreement there. And we might disagree there, but I think that's what makes it disanalogous, and that's what makes Shell and I don't know if it's Shell's same opinion, but that for me, is part of why I believe that the cases are different, where in the case of a pregnancy, you should not be able to cut that tie, because the cutting of the tie requires the killing, the dismembering, or the chemical, causing of death of the child, where in the other case, it is a separate individual who exists in a context that, although has been tailored, is not in its design made for the two individuals. Whereas the womb is intentionally designed for the creation and the nurturing of the child.
Kai, I just want to let you know that despite the concessions that you gave regarding the two instances of the crack mother as well as the 15-year-old who's been essayed, you are now 100 times, 1,000 times more reasonable than Shell Shock. That's how bad it is.
No, I agree with Shell Shock.
Jesus Christ. Never mind.
But so Michael, that I just wanted to respond. Because you brought that up, and I felt like it kind of went unresponded at some point.
So a couple things there. The first one is I view it very different for like a normal pregnancy than the case of SA. Okay, so in a normal pregnancy, I don't think bodily autonomy goes through after the point of sentience, and the reason for that is because it's not like the violinist case. That's the one that pro-choicers often use, is that you wake up and you're attached to someone, but in the case of a normal pregnancy, you willingly
you're a causal actor. Yeah.
You tap them into your body, and like in the same way that like if I had this little pocket in my stomach and I could Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style. I'm sort of dating myself with that reference. Shrink you down, stick you in there, put a space on and go into space, and just I think it would be horrible for me to just let you out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that is about as close as we can make a hypothetical to the case of pregnancy, where I put you in my stomach and I don't kill you. I just let you out, but it's in space. So too bad. And I think that's horribly wrong. But
okay, so just for the audience, so in the case where the intercourse has been consensual, you agree that the violinist argument kind of falls apart by the fact that the mother is causally responsible for the child existing in the womb.
Yeah, with the other conditions that I laid out for the responsibility condition clause.
Epic, sweet. I think like my response is also it's tailored to a case of rape or incest, right? Like I think
so that's where I think that like we could disagree on those exceptions. I think we had maybe, was there anything else? Like I have some other stuff I want to get into before we go, and we did talk about that a little bit as far as fleshing out our views. Was there anything that seemed unclear about my position there that you want to ask about before we move on to other things?
And not really. That is kind of like a difficult like kind of impasse about and it's a whole other argument, like the misuse faculty argument, that it is a different thing. The thing that I would say, and this is maybe if I can throw something to the audience, there is this kind of human intuition, right, about the importance of like the potentiality of life to address First Amenders, and I don't need a rebuttal on this, to address First Amenders like opening statement. The sperm, its natural result is not to create life. A sperm and an egg have to meet. The egg has to be fertilized. It has to implant in the uterine wall of the mother, which is also why, for example, like an ectopic pregnancy is a different case, and why most of the time the child will actually die in that circumstance. And it's not an abortion in the sense of killing the child. Most of the time in those kind of pregnancies, if the child is continued, if it grows, it'll eventually die, and then it's very unfortunate, obviously, but it's not, this killing, the way we've been talking about it up until now. But I do think, Michael, I'll ask you this question. If you had to decide between killing a child, and it's not a gotcha question, but it is to test kind of this intuition. If you had to choose between killing like a 90-year-old man and killing a child, which of the two would you feel was like more morally acceptable?
Yeah, so in the case of like triage is essentially what we're talking about, is you have to make one decision of a life over another life. So you're forcing into the hypothetical, you're forcing violating someone's negative right.
100%. Yeah.
So in that case, now we can start factoring in some of the externalities, and in that case, quality, like I would look at things like remaining likely quality of life to be had and that sort of thing. That said, I think that the negative right thing, the point of value is like an on-off switch, right? So I think that like once you have reached the point of sentience, and until like sentience is no longer on the table for you, you are entitled to moral consideration and certain negative rights in our society. Of course, like when there's two of those rights in conflict and one of them has to die, you can look at other things, but that doesn't mean that the 90-year-old that I'm not choosing was not entitled to negative rights.
I think this makes sense to me. I understand that. Obviously, it's to measure the intuition, and I think most people's intuition is you kill the older people because the child has greater capacity for future life experience, the stuff that we would value in the life of the older person. The thing that makes this more difficult is when we get into like the stuff I mentioned in my opening statement. statement, which is we make a ton of decisions that aren't even based on humans that exist. They are not even at, like, it's not that they're prior to sentience. Like, the egg and the sperm have not even met. We make decisions all the time that reflect how children in 100 years will grow up, particularly around environmental issues. And I think if that's the case, like if we're willing to make decisions for human beings that will maybe exist in hundreds of years, I think it's also super reasonable and morally consistent to apply that same reasoning to a child that is maybe a couple weeks away from sentience.
Yeah, I love that you went there, because this is exactly where I wanted to go as well. And so you're sort of articulating that future like ours. Is that the view that you reading someone else's? That's the view that you hold to as well?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, to an extent, like that's admittedly the one that the prior partner wanted to run, but I agree with it.
You agree with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and my response to that is pretty straightforward, that they're like, until you are sentient, you are not a thing. You are, like, if you're preventing, because we're not talking about like setting, like I could set a booby trap for a newborn baby that when they like come into the world and crawl down the hallway, they'll get, snapped into the bear trap or something and it breaks their leg. I think that would be a horribly immoral thing for me to do. And I can do that action even before the child like was conceived or was anything, right? I could do that generations in advance. And I think that would be immoral. Preventing a life from happening, there is no one that is harmed by that. And the reason it's bad to set the bear trap for the grandchild, the future grandchild, is because there will be a sentient being that will be harmed by that action. In the case where we're talking about CO2 emissions or that sort of thing, I agree with you. Like, we're talking about impacts on people that will have sentience in the future. When we're talking about preventing a life, there is no one that was harmed by not being alive. So that's where I disagree with.
Then what would you say it is? Like, I understand kind of what you're saying, but you also have to reason that we have an absolute like assurance that the life will exist. Like, we could be a week prior to your deadline, and this is not even including factoring in the fact that
it's like I could say the same thing of a sperm and an egg in a petri dish that are.
I don't think you could, because a sperm and an egg in a petri dish that haven't been fertilized or implanted into the uterine wall of the mother will not naturally produce more human life.
Yeah, I could just build that into the hypothetical that like we have created some sort of like petri, sperm egg combining petri dish where that will naturally happen.
Well, in that case, I defend it. Like, this is like an IVF thing. In that case, I would defend it.
Really? What if I move them further apart?
Like, if there's no fertilization of the egg?
No, like what if I just like physically in space move them further apart from each other, but they're still in this larger petri dish now, where
I don't know if I understand your hypothetical. Like, if the way I would basically say it, like, if the circumstances that will be 100% conducive to life, the way that I've described it, with a fertilized egg attaching to the uterine wall of the mother, if you can replicate that circumstance in a petri dish, then I'd agree. But if you are doing anything to alter it to the point where it's like that won't occur, it's like okay, maybe I understand what you're saying now. You're saying like, what if I take it a moment away from that?
And then another moment, then another, and another.
Yeah, I think you do have to get to one point where it's easily definable, but that easily definable moment is within the context of a womb, because that's what the womb is created for. It is the perfect context for the creation of that life. You could replicate that like in a petri dish.
The thing that you're claiming is valuable is not the life; it's the future of the future life, right?
Well, I think that's part of what causes us to value it. It's part of what causes us to value our own lives, right? And it's part of what makes us, like I said in the opening statement, that's what makes us, react so negatively to death, because it is the ceasing of future opportunity.
If you react so negatively to death, there are numerous instances which can be observed, obvious problems that happen by having this blanket, we should not have abortion ever. There are so many instances of mothers where they end up dying as well as the baby because of abortion bans. I can give as an example Jocelyn Barnica in Texas of 2021, who was 17 weeks pregnant. She was miscarrying in Houston, and doctors had recognized that the miscarriage was in progress, but they specifically did not intervene because the fetus was considered to still have a heartbeat. This is in regards to a Texas law that at the time had treated this as effectively an abortion and risked legal consequences. She was forced to wait over 40 hours before the doctors could proceed, and during that time, her cervix remained open to infection. And Barnica had then later died to sepsis from retained fetal tissue. Her death was deemed entirely preventable by medical experts. The problem that I'm having is, in reality, I feel that abortions need to come down to a case-by-case basis, and you just will not budge on that. And I think your understanding of what is like life and what is important and what is not important is woefully misled.
Okay.
So you said that death is the point where value stops?
Wait, me or First Amender?
You, Kai.
No, I don't think it's the point at which, value stops.
Sorry, because you're asking me about death. And
I said part of what makes death such a problem for us, like why we react so negatively to it, is because it deprives people of this like future potentiality. And that is why, when a young person dies, it's considerably like sadder for us than a 90-year-old who's died. There's this idea about the potentiality of it. To your point, like, I understand you can make this like this reduction argument to like an infinite regress of potentiality for life. I'm kind of staking out like a clearly definable one that also limits the risk. Like, for example, there are different stages of development in a child's sentience. You had mentioned that there's one study that says that it could occur as early as, I think it was 13 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Admittedly, that's a one-off study, but understanding statistics, it is a statistical possibility, which means that even within your own framework, you are basically playing with the possibility of terminating life unjustly. If that's the case, you ought to assume a more risk-averse position, which would put
you. I built in the precautionary principle into my.
So where would you place the ban on abortion at?
Well, that's where I said I would leave it to a panel of experts with the guidance of setting a cutoff point that respects the most likely instantiation of sentience plus a precautionary period.
But even just that word already is kind of betraying the potential consequence of this choice. If you're saying that it's the most likely case, then you're admitting that there is a probability.
Like I don't care that much about something that is like non-trivially sentient, like a mosquito or something. It's like I just don't care that much about it. If it has the sentience of a mosquito or less, it's like
I think that the fundamental difference here, though, is that the mosquito, it will never gain a higher sentience, right? Like, and it is also not a human being. Like,
the problem is like you can try again. You can always try again. Like after you abort.
Let's let Amender in here, guys. He's
oh no,
been
that was the clarification.
Yeah, the problem is you could just try again. Like if you don't want to have the child at that time, or there's some sort of complication, great, you just abort the child, and then when you're ready, you try again. I don't understand as if like, oh, okay, that we just lost that life when we have miscarriages happen all the time. Obviously, that's a heartbreaking scenario if they wanted to have that child, but it's like
why is a miscarriage bad, First Amender?
Because they wanted to have the child.
So the child's worth then is determined by how badly the parents want to have it?
Correct. It's unironically, specifically the mother, yeah.
Okay, so if the mother has a child, finds out it has Down syndrome, loves it less, is the child with Down syndrome worth any less than like another child?
They can decide to abort that child. That's very common.
What if the child's born? Like, is the value of the child still dependent on what the mother thinks of it?
No, it is no longer dependent on the mother.
What has significantly changed as far as assigning value to the life?
What has changed is they are no longer dependent on the mother's body in order to survive.
But they are as an infant. Like, they depend on a ton of things that the mother provides.
They can get a. If they don't want to be dependent on the mother, then they can just give it up for adoption.
Wait.
There's no
This
longer
is a
dependent
crazy
on the
argument.
It's not a crazy argument. It makes perfect sense, and it works in reality.
Hang on. First Amender, do you differentiate between abortion and killing the fetus?
Do I differentiate between abortion and killing the fetus? No, those are the same thing.
Okay, so if a woman wanted an abortion for any reason, hypothetically, she's crazy, she's racist.
Kai
and
debating.
32 weeks,
Kai debating
she
Dinesh
doesn't want
D'Souza
to
before
that is
GTA
acceptable to you?
6.
I don't
He's
like
on my
her
side. I teamed up with
decision.
Dinesh
That's her
D'Souza.
decision.
That's so real.
Yeah,
She
okay,
should
so
be
it's
able to
morally
be the
permissible.
Yo, I'm
ultimate
rocking with
decide
Michael
as to
eating
whether or not
bananas. He's a
the
legend
baby
for real.
comes into life,
I'm a
because
fan of
I
Michael.
believe that a person's bodily autonomy is greater than that of a fetus. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Trent
Sure,
Horn in the
sure.
bottom
If a
left.
woman
Yeah.
is
Why am I
forced
teaming
to
up with
abort-
Dinesh D'Souza and
Have you
debating
heard of the
against
flaming
Trent Horn?
building argument? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
With
yeah.
the
The
idea
flaming
of
building. Yeah.
argument, right?
Yeah. So like, just
Yeah, yeah.
curious, like which one? Like you're
I'd
in the
save the
burning
baby.
building, you would save
It's
the
just
baby.
so funny, bro.
Obviously,
Yeah.
the baby's more valuable than 100 fetuses, right?
Would you, Kai?
I didn't say that.
No, but it would be. You picked the baby.
Would Kai?
If you
would
save
take
the baby over a
Like, that's
5-old
incidental.
Hold on.
that. No. Let's say that I even concede that. Let's say that it is more valuable. Does that mean that the embryos don't deserve human rights?
I think it's entirely dependent, but obviously a baby is more valuable than fetuses. Come on.
No. I'm saying I concede the fact that the baby is more valuable. Does that mean that the embryos don't have human rights?
It's dependent.
Well, that doesn't answer the question.
It depends. It's not a yes or no. There's many
Okay, so
factors that cause independence
this
of
is a
that.
non-hypothetical. Let me ask you my question.
Like I think
Okay,
if like
you
a mother
understand.
wanted a fetus, right, or wanted a baby, and then they're pregnant, and then they get murdered, and that mother wanted that baby, that would be an example of a double homicide because they wanted the baby. So yes, it's
What?
dependent on the scenario.
Ayo, Charlie Kirk.
Okay, so I want to give an example. There were, do you know who Kermit Gosnell is?
No.
Okay, Kermit Gosnell was a serial killer. Well, legally he's considered a serial killer, but he performed third trimester abortions. One of the abortions that he performed were women that were in the process of giving birth, and he took a pair of scissors and cut off their necks between births. Because these women chose to get abortions because they didn't want a baby. They were exercising their right.
This is a right-wing talking point. I'm telling
this
you
is
right
not a
now,
right-wing
third
talking point.
trimester
No.
abortions
Brother.
are
He's
exceedingly rare.
legally, he's gone to
It's
prison.
just not.
for
It,
murder.
No, he's talking about an anecdote.
not-
You mentioned, by the way, an
it
anecdote
is
just
not-
like 20
it is
minutes
not-
ago. So you can engage with an anecdote if you expect us to.
I gave a single
even asking a
example, and also
hypothetical.
no.
And that's called an anecdote. A single example is called an anecdote, and Shell Shock is also giving a single
An
example.
example is not an anecdote.
All right, we can't all
Okay, I'm
talk at the
giving
same
you an
time.
example. I'm giving you an example.
Even though it's
Kermit Gosnell killed babies. He is in prison. You can open up his Wikipedia page. It is
Great.
My
I
face
agree
when
with you.
serial
A person
killer is
that's-
right-wing
that's
talking
cutting
point.
the necks off of babies in the third trimester.
That's crazy,
it's
bro.
Perfectly viable outside of the womb is murder.
Why?
Okay, great.
Why?
Well, because it's viable outside of the womb. You could just
it
have.
the
You could
woman's
just. You
choice?
could just induce an abort. You can induce
Uh,
a C-section, and then after you have a C-section, you go ahead and give it up for adoption. You don't need to kill the baby. You don't
The
need to.
woman
Based.
wants the baby to die. The
W
woman wants
First
the baby
Amender?
to die. She's like,
Why?
I don't need the baby in this.
Why?
In this
It doesn't matter.
Here.
It doesn't matter. For the hypothetical,
No, it
the
does
reasoning.
matter.
No, the reasoning of the
It
mother does
does
not matter. The reasoning of the mother.
I'm telling you right now.
First
I'm telling you
Amender.
right now, what is considered medically efficacious, what they would consider to do, current and modern standards is. If you are third trimester, they simply deliver the baby. It's that simple. They don't do abortions. It's just not a thing. The only instances where that's even remotely possible is where the baby's life is actually at stake, and on top of the fact of
If
the
the
mother.
baby's life is at
That's
stake,
the
they just
only
kill the baby.
instance.
I'm so
It's
confused
just
by this.
not done.
I'm so confused by this, twin.
Kermit Gosnell doesn't exist in your
I
reality.
never said it never happens. But I'm saying what is medically efficacious, it is not a thing. They don't do this. It's just a right-wing talking point.
I just want to say, First Amender, what you're not being is consistent, because you have once again,
my
like time and
fucking God.
wait, don't say the F word, pal. You've time and time again asserted that the value
It's
of the
not
hold on.
black and white.
I understand that. I'm not saying it's black and white. You're saying that the value of the child and whether or not it can be aborted is subject basically to the jurisdiction of the mother. It depends on if she wants to carry it to term or not. There could be, like, let's say there's a huge change in the mother's life such that she like fell into economic distress, and now having a child, let's say she's even in the third trimester, she's planning to take the baby to term. Let's say, oh crap, now there's like going to be this huge economic distress. I want to be able to abort my child. But it's also going to cause me, hold on. I understand what you're about to say. But let's say it's also going to cause me distress if that child continues to grow up. Like, she doesn't want the child to be in the world because that's going to cause her distress knowing that she's not going to be able to be the mother. But she's also not going to be able to carry the baby to term. Is she capable, or rather, do you believe that she should be able to still decide to abort the child?
I don't think so, but also
why not?
But also because it's viable. Because
so viability overrides the suffering of the mother.
Because just FYI, if they went up to the doctor and says, I want to abort it, and they're at third trimester, they would simply say, okay, we're going to induce a C-section, and then we're going to get a adoption, and then that would be it. That's how that works.
I don't know if they have the medical right to do that. Like, I don't know if that's the case. I'd have to fact check that, but I don't think that's true.
They're not going to do an abortion. That is not medically efficacious. They just don't do what you're saying that they do. They don't do it. I'm telling you.
When I asked you specifically,
will the Zoom call hear it if you super chat? No, just me, Cogburn. Sorry, but I'll say it if you want me to say a message. I'll say it. I'll let you know.
So
I'll tell everybody.
When we give statistics on third trimester
abortion debates suck. Yeah, I'm losing brain cells over here too, man. It's crazy.
Viability second trimester abortions that do happen, the 1%. You think all of them happen because of the
according to
mother's life?
CDC and Guttmacher Institute data,
less
than 1% occur at or after 21
what
weeks,
the freak?
let alone 25 weeks. It's basically non-existent. Why? Because they just do a C-section.
Okay.
They just don't do it. It's not a thing.
A C-section.
I
don't. Do they do a C-section at 20-something weeks?
And by the way, that's
I don't think that's the case
21 weeks,
most of the time.
Not even at 25 weeks. 25 weeks is ludicrous. It just doesn't happen. They don't do it.
Does it not happen, or is there?
There's very rare scenarios where it can happen. Right.
Okay.
The only instances where they happen is where you have really severe maternal health risks. You know, you could have a preeclampsia. There's cancer, organ failure that happen in third trimester. There are lethal fatal diagnoses that happen, such as you can have a trisomy 18, for example. You know, there are often, quite often even delays in care due to legal or financial or access barriers that push women later into pregnancy before they can obtain a particular procedure. It is performed, but that is super exceptional. That is in very medically urgent cases, and so it is extremely rare what you're talking about. Typically, if somebody wants an abortion post 25 weeks and it's viable, they simply induce a birth. That's how it works.
Hypothetically, let's assume that's not the case.
Oh my God.
No, because
he can't engage with hypotheticals. He can't engage in hypotheticals.
He agreed with you on this, didn't he already, though?
I have a unicorn right next to me.
He said hypothetically.
Did I win this argument? You're a murderer. You won the
argument. What is bro doing? What is bro doing?
Right?
I guess I'll ask one final question to First Amender.
I've got like 5 minutes before I crash out. No, but keep going.
You're leaving?
No, we can keep going. But I want to know how long it's going to be.
Final question for you, I guess. And then if Michael has anything else to ask. If a woman rapes a man and he wants to keep the baby, whose priority is taken?
The mother.
So she's still allowed to get an abortion?
Correct. Also jail.
Okay.
Anything
to add, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, there's still so much to discuss. Ryan, how long do we have here? I know
another 10 hours. I'm here for 10 hours.
I'm not here for 10 hours. Just FYI.
We've got Q&As to enter into. So
we do have a Q&A coming up. So if there are some things that you guys wanted to kind of wrap up in the next little bit, but it is up to you. If you were like, hey, I want an extra, like if you want to keep going for an extra 10, 20, it's fine by me. But you know, we'll give our audience a little gauge. Kai, you sound like you might be a little bit more in a hurry there. So what's your time gauge? When would you like to hit that Q&A?
He was about to come under attack.
Nobody else cares.
Yeah, I'm running. I wanted First Amendment. No mas. us. No, no. I'm good. Like, if I would put my absolute max at half an hour.
All right, half hour of open discussion at the max.
No. Like that I'm here.
Everything.
Oh, that you're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
We better
let me
go
just
into
ask
Q&A.
a few more
Let's go into
questions.
Q&A.
We should
that's
go into
okay.
Q&A.
Can Michael shoot me one question? Because there was a lot of substance that we weren't able to get to.
I don't know
If
that
he
one
shoots you a
question,
question,
line
I'm
of
gonna,
questioning. I
I'm
don't know
gonna
that one
start
question's
you.
going to
I'm gonna
accomplish
start
too
that
much.
half hour after your question, then, and hold you to it since you're asking for it. What a
Can I do 20
Give it
minutes
a
and
half hour.
20 minutes Q&A and 10 minutes with Michael? Thoughts?
Maybe not.
Okay.
Michael, go ahead and ask that question. There's a lot of people that want to engage. And they have
I can
questions.
ask one question.
If this is
one
your first
question.
rodeo, we're going to be here for 2 hours with that Q&A. Just FYI.
Oh boy, you might.
I don't
be
have
able to
one
swim.
question that's going to accomplish what I want it to accomplish.
You
It's sort of
can throw a bunch. I'll try to be quick with my answers.
okay. Just on the futures like ours view, is it all futures that you value or only good ones?
I think it's the potentiality of a good future, but it's also like this is also side by side with I think that human life and life is valuable, like axiomatically. Like I defend all life.
But you said a large part of the calculation in determining moral value is the potential for future. So I'm asking about, like, does the quality of the future factor into that part of the equation, or just the fact that it has a future?
I don't think I would make a moral decision about it, because I also don't think that a person's like individual value is determined solely by like their potential future. For example, like there are people who are born with birth defects that don't live past like their teenage years, but I don't think that they have less, moral consideration than somebody who could potentially live longer.
Moral
No,
value.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's not that moral value is wholly derived from potentiality. Rather, that a large part of our consideration, is based on potential. Like we have an intuitive sense of the importance for potentiality, but it's not solely that.
But it was a conjunction of human, like unique DNA or instantiation of life or something, plus capacity to have a future, right?
Yeah, that's part of it. Like the capacity to have a future is
But it has
part.
to be both of those things.
What are you trying to get at? Maybe I can be a little clearer with like if you give me the next question.
Let's try to make it quick.
Well, it depends on your answer, so it's hard to like.
All right, let's make this one pithy.
just-
The last little kind of back and forth here, and then we're gonna hit those
Yeah,
questions.
I mean, like the point is just there's some perhaps troubling things about valuing a future, and like just one example of where this could have gone. If it, like there'd be different forks in the road depending on how you answered, but if you said that a good future is important, that would lead to certain things that I would find troubling, like valuing the life of probably a wealthy kid over the life of a poor kid, for example, because they have a better future that's likely to happen.
I think that's where you get into things that are a little bit more arbitrary, right? Like the potentiality for future in and of itself, and like the ability to, realize your own potential, that no matter what is good. Whereas the way that we qualify which lives are worth more or less becomes much more arbitrary. And that's not what I'm supporting, which is why I wanted to be careful. This idea of a good life, we could characterize that simply as an individual's ability to exercise their free agency, not just like certainly a person could use their free agency in a ton of terrible ways. A person's life, from my perspective, I could say, well, I'd much rather live mine than another's, but that's not to assign moral value to it the same way that I am assigning moral value to the existence of life.
All right, I'm gonna push.
Can I just
you guys
want to put like 10-second?
Oh, 10 seconds. You're really.
It's fine. It's fine.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Just if
I
you
would
had 10
I would
seconds
just
just
say
to
I
wrap
agree.
up your idea. Okay.
I agree with you on that fact, but I think that holding the position of future like ours, where that factors into like your definition for morally valuable life, I think that you can't say what you just said. It does have to factor in, but I would love to unpack this maybe more in another discussion or something. But
We may need to do that because we do have a lot of questions. A lot of people are interested to ask. So all of you guys, there's questions, and there are quite a few for you there, Kai. You did get a lot of speaking time, so they're going.
I'm a yapper. I'm a
Yeah,
yapper.
there's gonna be quite a few questions for you, so we hope that you don't run away too soon, especially if you guys get into a back and forth. I'll be pointing the finger at you and being like, hey, it's up to you. You want to engage, but you're the one on the timer here, right? All right. Supposedly. All right, Basil Problem says, this channel is a proxy for Christian nationalism. Well,
Yo, Florida Groipa.
Oh,
proxy?
that's not a good thing.
Florida Groipa, thank you so much for the
I
5.
would say it could also be said that if you're spending a lot of time shedding light on said Christian nationalism,
Oh, what a banger.
that you could also be creating
Holy banger check, Florida Groiper, thank you.
So that can cut in both ways. Our
Appreciate it,
objective is
dog.
to try to be a neutral platform so that the ideas can fall, and if somebody falls on their own sword, that's great. But if you think that that's what's happening, then that just might be because that's the way the culture shift is going on right now. You can find that good, you can find that bad, but
You're on the wrong side of history, by the way.
let's see here. Oh, me?
No, the Christian nationalists.
Oh, I was gonna say, oh, goodness Christ, got that for me. How could I do that? All right, Emperor Fat Ass Doctor. I debated first. Get out of here.
Hold on, you're a little quiet. Oh, my bad. You're a little quiet. I don't know. It's probably fine.
Me? Okay, I can always turn it up a bit more. All right, so next question here is from Emperor Fat Ass Dog. He says, I debated First Amender before on the death penalty, and he's against it, yet he's pro-choice. Does that contradict his belief system?
No.
Wait, hold on. He's against the death. I don't think that's a problem.
The only
I don't think that's a
instances
problem at all.
where I'm in favor of the death penalty, whereas like the very mortality of the person is, or like if they exist, risks the mortality of other individuals. So a good example of this would be like a Ted Bundy, for example. Then and only then is.
Dude,
like
this
the
music
only
is so
instance
loud.
where
I can't hear anything. That's kick.
I think there's lots of instances.
W
where
Florida
should not
getting
be
crazy
killed.
mileage
The
out of
problem
this.
is that they're already born. They're already a sentient human being. But it is true that we value people at different levels depending on the situation. And I think fetuses are a part of valuing it less. It's just entirely dependent, I think, it is dependent on the mother to make that decision.
Yeah, to kind of expand on that, the death penalty question is essentially what is an acceptable punishment to give to a moral agent that is committing an immoral action. The question of abortion is determining whether or when does this fetus deserve human rights. These are entirely separate questions.
I'm anti-death penalty guy. Like I'm surprised actually that you make exceptions for it. I'm anti-death penalty.
I'm morally neutral on the death penalty, but practically against it.
All right, we're gonna ask the next question there, guys. Basil Problem says, MDD Subway Guy, when will you debate the true question? Should chubby guys be allowed to stream on YouTube? I think that's a question that James is probably too interested in. Let's see here. Basil Problem once again had a couple ones real early here. We're just gonna knock them out. MDD topic option: should people of the origin be allowed to stream on YouTube?
I can't hear you, Ryan.
I'm just moving through Basil's questions. Should people of Indian origin be allowed to stream
W.
on YouTube? Why or why not? These are not the questions of our debate, Basil. We're not having a conversation about
That's funny.
who should be allowed to
About
stream.
Indians.
I don't think that's what he's
Racist.
saying. I think he's.
I'm not Indian.
Wait, where are you from, Shell?
I'm from West India, Pakistan. Don't deport me.
Pakistan! I sacrifice my life for Pakistan!
All right. Basil Problem says, MD, another debate topic again. Oh, you are just.
Yo, W Super Chat. Thank you, Florida.
Gig of
Appreciate it.
great topics, just only not. But you spent real money for
If
this,
you
so,
don't want to send epic,
again, just throwing
if you
this
want to
out
send
there.
epic super chats, powerchat.live/KaiClips.
Why not? Just ban them. Basil, thanks for your thoughts.
How
there.
much money did he spend?
That was all.
Basil, these are supposed to be super chats to
Ban
me.
me?
What's
Ban
going on?
me?
We're moving through them right quick because you spent $20.
Wait, First Amender,
Well, thank you so much.
I'm bisexual, so should you ban me?
That's for the chatter, right? That's
I
not for
don't
me.
think- I don't think these were. I was gonna say,
That's for the chatter, not for me, right?
No, I'm just curious for Kai or Kai and Shell Shock, right? You want to talk about that religion, right? That Christian nationalism, right? Should I be banned?
No, I don't think we should punish people for their sexual attraction, but no, I'm against gay marriage if that's what you would consider banning you. I don't consider it that, but I would be in favor of repealing same-sex marriage protections.
All right. Let's move on from there since it's not the topic of our debate, but we definitely can have that debate. So, Rich,
First Amendment is like super quiet.
Mike, are you saying personhood starts at conception,
What the?
but it's okay to kill that person before sentience? Would you even call it killing before sentience?
Talking to me, would I call killing a non-sentient
He's going to give me AIDS
sure,
now.
in the same way I might call killing a flower.
How much longer is this going to go? It's almost done. It's almost done. We're so close. We're so close, guys.
Got
We
it.
should have gotten into the veganism thing, Michael.
Pardon me?
Yeah, we should have gotten into the veganism thing.
Love to on a different time.
Let's go. Let's flip and go.
XD says, First Amender, do you hear yourself? Your whole position revolves around the death of other humans, and you're for it. It's sick and genocidal position to have. Why is your side always, yes, death?
This goes back into the same exact problem of baking into the definition, it's wrong, therefore it's bad. However, what I look at outcomes, whether or not that it results in beneficial societal outcomes. And yes, having access to abortion
he's a
empirically causes
utilitarian?
higher quality of living standards. In fact, we can observe this even in the United States.
What if we
where there's
killed
more
all people of a
restrictions on
certain racial
abortions,
group that
and we have
disproportionately
empirically
affect the crime
shown
rate?
that it has
How about
made
that?
life worse by restricting access to abortion. This is also the case across European countries as well. I'm sorry, but the Christian nationalists are wrong on this. They make life worse by taking away the rights of individuals to make choices over their own body. Period.
I did think that was like a funny stat that you brought up at the beginning, because it's like the mortality rate declines. It's like, well, abortion's like a 100% mortality rate. So that to me was just like an interesting statistic. But I also think it's interesting. Like, do you have any
to do with the life of the mother? That's the one I brought up. That was to do with the
No. The one that First Amender brought up, and it's like,
Christianity is a death cult, by the way.
okay. Okay. I mean, it's literally, I don't know if you'd call it a death cult. I think it's a cult of resurrection.
It
You know,
is.
it's kind of the only thing that talks about
Resurrected
getting
in
life
death,
back.
You know, yes, exactly.
Well, but hold on. If you gain your
Get it.
life back, then it's not really a death cult, is it? Then it's like a life cult. Then it's like an eternal life cult,
No.
which is kind of
The
based.
problem is that we can't empirically show that life even exists to any level.
Hey,
to
how about
any
this First
metric.
Amender?
So we just have to.
How about this
I
First
guess,
Amender? Can
hope
you
that
empirically
maybe you could be
explain?
right.
Can you
But just
empirically explain
FYI,
wave
you are
particle?
empirically making life worse.
Can you empirically explain wave particle duality? Can you empirically explain that?
Yes, it can be empirically explained.
Then what? Then why does it happen? Why do electrons exhibit wave particle duality?
Because it is an axiomatic notion of.
You just start using the word axiom like in any
Axiom is
sentence.
the killer word.
I'm just saying that that's what it is. It just is that way.
Your
We don't
point
know
there,
why
Kai?
it is. It doesn't. In fact, the universe doesn't owe you a why. It can just be, and that yes, like it's like what's the purpose of, I don't know, the Pythagorean theorem? What is the purpose of that? Why does A?
It's a good
and
question.
B
These are important
work
questions that we ought
with
to ask.
C? Well, no. The answer is that you attribute a why.
golden
because
mean.
You have an anthropomorphic existence, and you attribute a why to things that don't owe you a why.
The real question
That's why
is,
the wave particle duality doesn't offer you a why.
the
It
real
just
question is,
it exists axiomatically.
I see
Not
some
necessarily.
how about
It's actually highly disputed in top tier quantum physics.
how
Many worlds
All right, like I say.
wait, hold on. Michael, are you saying that wave particle duality is disputed? That's the first I'm hearing about this. Or really?
Look up
That's the first I've heard that.
many worlds interpretation or of quantum mechanics. That's John Carroll holds that position, and essentially the electron is not a wave and a particle; it's a wave.
You had this big smile on your face, Kai. I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to ask First Amender. The real question is, if God not real, why good thing happen?
If God not real, why good thing happen?
Mm-hmm.
I think that like good thing happen because there are things that make the ape brain chemicals happy, or satisfactory, and that
What
is
about
what we
a tree?
associate with good.
Why does a tree reproduce?
Because of a series of chemical outputs.
But like, what's like the driving force behind
There
the
is no driving force. It
Then
exists.
why does it
as a
reproduce? Like,
deterministic,
what is the
purely
advantage of a tree?
It's just it
Because
just
it wants to
exists.
get
It just
down just
exists
like
as a
everybody else. All right.
deterministic.
That's a nice
It is a deterministic outcome that it arrives itself purely from systems that are known.
But I'm asking. Okay, yeah, fine. I'm sorry.
Let's move on to the next question here. I gotta adjust my levels here because Max said that I'm clipping, and you guys say you can't hear me. I swapped out my mic. Hopefully, you guys can hear me better. Wi-Fi Gospel says, based on First Amender's first argument, the teen who was raped must be able to unalive her baby after birth to prevent further suffering on her end.
What
Can
the
you
fuck?
repeat the question?
Based on First Amender's first argument, the teen who was raped must be able to unalive her baby after birth to prevent further suffering on her end. So
No,
post
They have autonomy. It's just straw manning the position to something ridiculous.
All right, fair enough. We'll move right on. Thank you so much for the question. We do have a lot of questions, and we do want to try to bang them out. So if you do have, thoughts, comments, complaints, concerns, something you feel wasn't addressed during the debate, get it into the Q&A, and we're going to ask it. Basil Problem coming in with another one. Bunch of dudes debating abortion. Super insightful. Sounds like the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, to be fair,
Glad I'm not the one making the decision.
We did have a lady who was booked to be on the panel tonight. Unfortunately, due to her the time constraints, I mean, it wasn't my decision.
Hey.
But either way,
First
we
Amender,
have.
I
we have
identify
Shell
as a
Shock here.
woman. Don't worry about it. We got a woman
Okay.
right here.
Sick.
All right, we're good to go. So
right.
there you go.
Okay, sweetie.
There we go.
Basil, there you go. You've been just blown out of the water. Your argument's been put to rest. As Shell Shock identifies as a woman. So, lawyered. Passio says, your body.
Oh, dude, my mic wasn't
choice
even on.
Forever, Nicholas J. Fuentes. Thank you, Passios.
I actually want to talk about this a little bit, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Let's
He's got a nuanced opinion on the validity of the claim.
No. The issue with the your body, my choice is that the reality here is that we do restrict other people's autonomy to a degree, depending on the situation. The best example that I can think of is probably drunk driving, right? Even though you can drive drunk and reach your destination without hurting anybody, it's still illegal to do so. So there are restrictions. Clothing is another example. You can't walk out, naked. Hopefully everyone's in agreement with that. Right? There are certain restrictions that other people force on your body for the benefit of society as a whole. We have to balance out which ones are justified or not. This is actually a little bit separate from the abortion debate, because consent to sex is consent to pregnancy, which Michael seems to agree. And now we're arguing, when does that responsibility start occurring? But in the cases of grape, we actually, you kind of do have this argument being made. But it really depends on the pro-life perspective. Kai believes thinks that all fetuses have a moral right in the womb. Do I have that right, Kai? That's a little bit different from your body, my choice, because there's a difference between having a fundamental right versus restricting someone else's right for the benefit of society as a whole.
All right. Well, sorry about that. Let's move on from there then. Seems like everybody else is kind of putting that one to rest. Thank you so much for wrapping that one up there, Shell Shock. And I was just checking the live chat. I'm so sorry. I wasn't as ready as I should be. Nobody else wants to make any comments on the quote there from Nick Fuentes. No.
Everyone's favorite.
Basil Problem says, Kai, is every sperm special?
I mean,
It should be a song.
literally, yes. I mean, it's like, in its capacity to eventually create life in the proper context, yeah. Every sperm special. My sperm is special. Look at me.
I think he means in human life, right? Like he means like human life individually. is it valuable?
No, I think he's getting at whether there's a reductio there into sperm rights is what I
Yeah.
would guess.
Yeah. Which is why I qualify within the proper context, right? It's like just the egg.
I thought you had, but it sounded just there like maybe you were saying.
No.
You can't.
The creative potential, like in a genetic sense, like in the code that is contained in every sperm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the way we value it depends absolutely on the context. Well, by the way, I did want to add that, Michael. I think because I didn't want to come off as if I was dodging the like 100 embryos, right, versus like the one child. I think a significant way of how you weigh that, like I think it's impossible to weigh because there's not a good way of considering at which point like the reliability of the life takes precedent over the rest. For example, if I were to ask you, would you rather have like one child that's in its third trimester in the womb versus a child that's in its second trimester in the womb, which of the two would you take if you're forced into the same hypothetical?
My view would be based on the sentience, so I would take the third trimester child.
But even in the second trimester, like by the stats you mentioned, like it is sentient.
It's more sentient. I think that there's like they would be equally entitled to negative rights to life, but again, similar to your question about the child and the old person.
Yep.
I've thought this through a little bit of just like what age would I like save if forced into the decision. It'd be probably around like 5 to 8 would be like the ideal person I would save if forced to choose one age over another.
Oh no! I'm saying like they're both in the womb, both are sentient. I think you and I both agree that we would choose the child in the third trimester. The reason we would do that is because the possibility of that child, developing is further. Hold on. It's more insured. Like it has already been more successful in its developmental process than the child in the second, because there's any number of things that could happen in the last trimester that the second trimester fetus hasn't even gone through. In that same way, I feel that although like I'm providing or I'm giving moral value to the embryos that are like frozen or whatever, I'm giving them moral value, but I'm weighing it against the reliability of the child's life. Like we know the child's alive. We know that it has gone through these stages. It's very likely that it'll continue living. All these number of factors, right? If you were to do like a 1-to-1, it'd be a lot easier to make that decision. The issue is you manipulate the numbers. You begin to say 100
in such a way that it equates what you're talking about. So let's say that the likelihood of successful IVF implantation is 10% or something. So would you take 10 embryos, one child? It's like give or take, or would there be a clear winner there?
Well, and that's the issue, right? Is like I don't think anybody has a good way of weighing that out. I don't think there is a really good way of weighing out the potential, right? Like in a numerical sense. I think what's
wild to choose 10 embryos over like a 1-year-old. I think that's a wild, horrible thing.
I think it absolutely appears wild to us, but the reason it appears wild is because we have this kind of intuition about like we absolutely know that the child has gone through the developmental stages that the embryos haven't, but likely would. I think that's what makes it ridiculous to us. I don't think it's a matter of like a conflict of morality, but that's the reason why that, I would say 100 embryos. I think that's the more consistent position, but I'm also saying that it appears crazy because one has reached a developmental stage that the others are likely to achieve but have not been insured of. But in that same sense, it's like that's why I use the hypothetical of the 2 trimester versus 3rd trimester baby. It's like, okay, both of them are sentient. You're really just weighing like the stage of developmental process, and sentience, now is factored out. All that's factored in is time.
It's not. I know where you're going with the hypothetical, so I don't need to engage with that. But I will point out that I would value the sentience over a 3rd trimester fetus versus a second. The same way I would value the sentience of a 1-year-old over a 3rd trimester. But it's like I think both are entitled.
But what about like a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old?
Yeah, I think that at some point we reach sort of the full capacity of of instantiation of sentience, where like we're feeling all the stuff. We have like thoughts about the future that can be taken away from us, like all that sentience can give us. I think sort of parabolically or whatever reaches a threshold and like plateaus out. So somewhere along that, In the early stages, I think there's a big difference between developing fetus, but then once you start getting older, there's not much difference, and then that's where you start weighing in like the quality of remaining life as the factor to help you choose between.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. I would just say let's like.
I'm telling you, dude, these questions are going to be 2 hours long.
Okay. We can keep going.
This is a good one though. We had some
I
stuff.
promise you.
Yeah, that it's an interesting thing to explore.
This is gonna be up to you, Kai. Like I say,
We can keep going.
We can keep going through the questions, but yeah, I do want to try to bang some out while you're still here. You know, you let me know though if you adjust your position. You say I'm having way too much fun with this. The audience is going to keep pouring in the live questions, so Lordy knows what somebody's going to ask. Now that
We'll only answer until the super chats are over. So
yeah. All right. So Richie says. First offender, is it okay to get an abortion if you find out it's a boy and you want a girl? Or if the baby has Down syndrome, why or why not?
I find the reasoning behind that to be morally reprehensible, but it's ultimately up to the mother to make that decision for themselves. They can choose.
Same thing with the so whether it's boy or girl decision or whether the baby has Down syndrome.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Anybody
can
else
I
have any thoughts?
differentiate something with you,
Sure.
First Amendment? You said that a woman can't have an abortion post viability, right? She has to terminate the pregnancy.
I mean, what is medically efficacious is they just induce they just induce birth.
She wants to kill the baby. She's a psychopath.
Yeah, it's just not recommended. Doctors don't recommend
No, she's
this.
not getting an abortion. She's getting a termination of pregnancy.
No, she just induces it's a C-section. That's what the
just say
abortion
no.
is.
Say you wouldn't sign off on it. You did already. Just say it.
First Amendment, I want to be very clear. If the mother says, I want this baby to die, you will say no.
Correct.
But she's still allowed to terminate her pregnancy, ending the pregnancy.
No.
What? So you would force her?
Correct.
What?
I don't think he understands your
because
question.
it's viable.
I'm back.
No, hang on.
I had a buddy just rage out. I just had a buddy rage out, bro. What's up, Chief?
She does not.
What are we talking about?
Baby.
What are we talking about here?
Would you force her
I just tapped back in and they're talking about black babies. I had to take a phone call real quick, guys. I'm sorry about
you
that.
Would just induce a birth.
Okay, she says, I want this baby dead. I don't want this baby to live.
No, you just induce a birth. That is not medically efficacious.
Right. Okay, that's what I wanted to understand. What if she has a Down syndrome baby or a baby that has a physical disability? And she said, instead of an
that's
immoral
also
reason,
not medically efficacious.
Okay, so you would say that Disse has the right to live. She does not have the right to.
Dude, I'm so hungry. I have no food. I'm so hungry, bro.
To be medically efficacious.
Okay. What does that mean, medically efficacious?
Like, it's not effective to just kill the baby. The baby is viable outside of the womb. You just induce a birth and put it up for adoption. That's the end of that.
No, she doesn't want that to happen. She doesn't want that to happen.
Okay, it's not medically efficacious to do that, right? I get that, like, there are people that want things that are not medically efficacious. The doctors are going to recommend against that.
Okay, so you would say that is immoral, what she's doing, if she goes against what's medically efficacious.
I wouldn't call it immoral. I just think it's not medically efficacious. It's just,
okay,
you just don't do it.
Let me try to understand this. Let's say a woman is 26 weeks pregnant. She has a black baby. She does not want this black baby. She goes to the doctor. She says, I want this baby to not breathe oxygen when it exits my womb. They say, I'm not going to do that. That's not medically efficacious.
Correct.
So she goes to a back alley abortion and kills the baby.
Okay.
Is that murder?
I don't think I would call it murder, but yeah, it's pretty morally reprehensible.
Okay, so she is allowed to get an abortion, legally speaking, because she doesn't face any legal repercussions.
I suppose so, but it's just not performed. Like what you're talking, like doctors don't perform this.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question. Thank you so much to our panel for having the back and forth there. I'm going to remind our audience there, I can get so scatterbrained sometimes. listening to all the back and forth. But really important that I remind you all.
Yo, Chief, thanks for the follow.
Available right now.
Thank you for the follow. Love you. Love you, Chief. I love you so much, Chief.
Gets the worm, so check
You're a
the
G.
link that I posted there in our
Love you so
live
much,
chat right
dog.
now. So get in that live chat. Check out that posted note right there.
What else we got?
Even participate in the poll and let
Nothing?
us know where you stand on the question.
I should check, dude. I should check my own YouTube, my own video. I haven't checked. Maybe there's power chat. Maybe there's super chats over there. Sorry if anybody super chatted. My apologies, guys. Schrodinger's double homicide. Keck. There we go. Now I see you guys.
Ethical, so that we could try to weed out some of the thoughts there. We have 25% say yes, 69% say no, and
Wow,
then 5%,
what a surprise.
5% say, "What's a poll? I'm a rectal swab."
Wow, what a surprise.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. This place has been basically
It's full of
overrun by
rectal
Christian
swabs.
nationalists.
I don't make the polls. I just write them. Anyway, I'm kidding.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, exactly. They're rectal swabs, admittedly.
By the way, in the United States, most people are okay with abortions.
All right. So we got lots of more questions, and I do want to try to bang a few more out.
Most people were okay with slavery at one point too. So I don't know if that's like a great argument, but
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but I mean, it was. I love that you like to pick where it does agree with you, unless when it.
no, I actually just don't believe in
know if
majority
that's a good
rule.
argument.
I actually just don't believe in like pure democracy. I don't believe in majority rule.
All right, let's go to
Gotcha.
the next question, guys.
You just
Thanks,
believe
Mike.
in a theocracy.
Hold
Got
on.
it.
Last word. So let me ask this question, right? Wi-Fi Gospel says, you know it's bad when your partner has to explain your opponent's hypothetical to you. You understand the argument. You just feign ignorance. First amender.
I don't feign ignorance. I feel like I'm understanding it perfectly fine. I don't have any issue in these understanding. It's just I think that they empirically make life worse, and I'm arguing to make life better for people. So
Sometimes people have such different worldviews, it's hard to understand each other.
I think I'll steel man First Amender a little bit. Admittedly, most of us have gone into this debate. Like Michael said in his opening statement, he's addressing the like the more kind of philosophical or maybe moral implications. First Amender seems to have taken it, at least to some degree, a utilitarian argument about harm reduction, maybe like a more pragmatic policy oriented perspective. So, you know, we haven't engaged a ton on that line. I can give him, I can steel man him a little bit. I do think though that he didn't totally grasp some of the disagreements that we may have had. So it's not to say that he was correct, but it is to say, you know, we understand First Amender. You took it to a level that we did not all come to debate.
Well, let's ask that next question. But yeah, no, First Amender is definitely not shy when it comes to saying how he feels when it comes to debate, which is great. There's a lot of people that I can see sometimes they're sitting there and I'm like, you had a thought, and they're like, no, I'll let somebody else go. Yeah, that's no fun. So Wi-Fi Gospel says, First Amender, if hypothetically a gay gene was discovered, would it be okay to abort a child because a parent found out that they had the gay gene?
it's ultimately up to the
You've made me
mother.
say this.
It is ultimately up to a mother, and just so you are aware, there's no singular gay gene. However, there are a series of genes that in combination have a high propensity to being gay. So there's no gay gene, but there's
Wasn't this the
gay
same question Kel
genes.
just asked you?
Okay, let's just answer the question as a hypothetical. So, as a hypothetical,
Yeah, with the hypothetical, I did answer it. The answer is yes. You can. A
Based.
mother has a right to terminate a pregnancy.
First Amender is
Oh.
red pilled?
But not kill.
No, I'm abortion pilled. I'm perfectly okay.
Rhetorical
with
switch
a
there, by the
mother
way. Michael caught that.
deciding-
It's not killing anymore.
All right, hold on. He has been consistent that it's a mother's decision for any reason. So we'll leave it at that. Basil Problem has a few questions. We'll come back to it. Basil. Let's see. Oh, I guess we could ask this one. Basil Problem says for $5, does Shell Shock have bodily autonomy? Like when he pleasures himself, who's controlling that? This is from Basil. These people make me say these things. They pay money to make me say these
So
things.
gross. Why?
Well, I mean, I can answer the question. His mom controls it.
That's pretty good. All right, I'll give you,
You
that.
got, yeah, you've been lawyered. All right. Basil Problem says, MDD, can you confirm that James was not the guy that threw the subway footlong at the ice guy in DC? I can neither confirm or deny such allegations. Basil Problem says, oh, so Kai is a utilitarian. Utilitarian. I cannot say this word right now. There's too much.
Brian, I need you to
Too much
speak
beer.
louder, man. I
There's
can't
too much
hear
beer
you.
in the back
I'm
of my throat.
I'm
I
a
swear.
rural utilitarian.
Utilitarian. Yeah.
Nobody's saying that I am. I don't know. I don't know when
My
I ever made an
utility-
argument from
No, I don't
utilitarianism.
think you're a utilitarian at all.
I don't think so either.
I can't have a sip halfway through
Yo,
here. Just
based agreement between First Amender and I. Let's flip and go.
Well, we're not done yet. We're not out of the woods yet. My utility function is minimized for anyone named Kai. I choose to optimize over utility. Oh, okay. That sounds. I don't know. This is kind of sounds kind of kinky, Basil. Maybe you want to talk to somebody about that. Basil Problem says, Kai, do you believe married women have the right to vote? What about single women?
Do I believe they have it? Yeah, I believe they currently have the right to vote. But I'm in favor of probably like a family voting thing. I think that'd probably be a better way to do it. I'm very much an anti-universal suffrage guy. Like I don't think there's a good defense for allowing people to vote who like don't take the time to return shopping carts. Like I think that's a huge issue. Allowing those people like the same leverage in your electoral system as like a homeowner, that's crazy to me.
All right. That's a whole nother discussion in itself. Isa Kabir says to all, steel man your opponent's position. So Isa likes to ask this question. I'll start with you, Michael. Could you steel man the position Shell Shock has presented this
Brian, can
weekend?
you speak
Pretty
louder?
darn easy. It was a very simple modus ponens. Life begins at conception. A fetus is a human life. Life begins at conception. Abortion is killing human life. Therefore, abortion is wrong. And Kai's view is similar, but I wanted to flesh it out a bit more, so I don't know that I'm 100% clear on it, but he has a similar instantiation of moral value at conception, but he adds a qualifier of something to do with some degree of future value or future value placed on the expected life of the fetus.
Excellent.
And yeah,
I think that's great. We got to go around the panel with this one, and Isa likes to ask this question, and I think it's great. It really can pull the rug out from underneath people and show if they've actually been paying attention or if they're kind of responding to, responding to straw men. So I'll let you chime in. Let's go back and forth, actually. So Shell Shock, start with Michael. Steelman Michael for me. What is his beliefs in this debate?
I can barely hear you, Ryan.
Can you Steelman Michael for me and what he believes?
Yeah, Michael's argument is the continuous conscious experience. This is pretty similar to Destiny's argument, if you guys have heard that one. I know Kai is the best friends with Destiny a long time ago. But basically, the idea here is that since we value death as brain death, as the lack of conscious experience, then we should value when the very first conscious experience occurs, which, with taking the precautionary principle on a practical level, would be around 12 weeks. Right. So it's good to have a continuous line that is not inconsistent. So from brain death to, figuratively speaking, brain birth.
Okay, and First Amender, can you steelman his position right quick?
Kai or Shell Shock?
No. Shell Shock. Can you steelman First Amender as well?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
If you can do
First
so quickly.
Amender steelman is going to be something along the lines of like, since we have our own bodily autonomy, and we don't let the government violate our bodily autonomy, then I think it should be wrong for other people to restrict women's bodily autonomy. Hence, a woman should have the right to get an abortion up until viability, because then after that you can terminate the pregnancy.
That was completely incorrect, but okay.
Okay,
Wow.
that's all right. We're gonna hand it over to you, First Amender. Start with Kai there, and I'll let you end with Shell.
I think that Kai just says point blank that abortion is murder, and murder is an unjustifiable killing of a human being, and so he believes that abortion is that. Just simple as that. And I believe that the basis of that comes from his belief in his religion. Shell Shock offered it was a syllogism where he was saying that life begins at conception and we ought.
Yo, Chief,
human
I'm
life,
not going to
therefore
be
it is
able to play
wrong
zombies tonight. I'm sorry, friend.
fetus.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to make it.
Last but not least, Kai, I'm going to hand it over to you. If you want to start with Michael, tell me what Michael presented and do your best to steel man.
Yeah, for sure. Michael presented the case that we ought to value human life only after the point of sentience. That's kind of the thing that makes it valuable. So you could extend like the qualifications for abortions in the case of consensual sex only kind of at prior to the point of sentience. But there were notable exceptions in the cases of rape or in any of the ones that he showed in his first PowerPoint. If any of those are broken, then it's a different case. And he kind of, I don't know. I guess that's kind of the basic position. I think that's pretty accurate. That's the fundamental basis for it.
Let's move over to first then. So how could you steel man First Amender in this debate?
First Amendment basically made the argument that of bodily autonomy of the mother, that the mother has the ability to decide whether or not she wants to carry the child to term because of the amount of suffering that the child might produce in her life. I don't think that was totally consistent with a later argument he made, which was that if it is possible to deliver a child, you ought to deliver that child. But he did make that case. I think it was basically like a case from bodily autonomy, and then I don't know. I think he had kind of made two cases that were a little bit contradictory. He kind of started to make a sentience argument based off the viability of the fetus, but also made the argument of like the mother's bodily autonomy.
I think that's pretty good there.
Was that accurate, Michael? I do want to ask, and then I got to run.
Well, I got two quick ones for you there, Kai, because they're specifically for
right.
you, and we'll have no follow-up.
Responsibility condition.
Yeah.
So no follow-up here. Basil Problem says, Kai, what is the Hamiltonian for 1/2 spin particle in a magnetic field?
Pointless question.
I have to get my glasses out to read these freaking.
It was funny. I looked that up on ChatGPT and told it to like say it the way that a professor would, but there's no easy answer. Like it's a whole lecture, so there was no chance I could explain that.
Oh, sorry, I was supposed to say it with a little bit more. All right, awesome. All right, so Basil Problem says, is Kai smarter than Kant? All right.
No chance.
Probably not too much to put in there. Yeah, I think that's all the ones that are specifically coded for yourself. So I'm going to give you a closing statement. Give us 1 minute and let us know what you thought of the discussion. And you can tell people where they can find you, all that good gravy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My name is Kai Schwimmer. I'm a political commentator, campus speaker. You can find me on Twitter at Kai Schwimmer, SCHWEMMER. You can find me on Instagram, KaiClips, KAIKLIPS. I think the closing statement is kind of relies back on that. I think the right to life is axiomatic. Every single thing that we value depends on the ability that we have to preserve life. And I think that a lot of the places that we begin to enable abortions are placed very arbitrarily. And I think you will get to the point where you're deciding basically to risk either ending sentient life or placing the restriction pretty close to conception. I think the most consistent position that we can secure, the one we ought to do to maximize the ability of people to have a future like ours, to use that terminology, but also to exist, is to protect the right of life at the point of conception. And that means making abortion illegal because it is, by definition, the unjust taking of an innocent life. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great to have a debut here on Modern Day Debate. I apologize that I'm running so fast. I've got the producers calling. I've made too many commitments for the evening. But big thanks to Shell Shock for picking up the slack and hopping in real quick. Shout out as well to the debate partner I was going to have, who unfortunately could not make it, and First Amender and Michael. Thank you guys so much for the debate. It was awesome. And of course, the moderator. Thank you for moderating. It was lovely to be here. Have a wonderful evening.
All right, we'll see you next time. Cheers.